What's up?
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, we kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. The brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. And we feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race.
Oh, stop. Too much music. What's happening? All right, start the Facebook. What's up, guys? Welcome. Shut my internet off. Couldn't pay the bill. Not enough donations. You guys didn't do it. I was here waiting all night for donations to roll in so the check would clear. And here I am on my iPhone like an idiot in my apartment I'm getting evicted out of. Dude, on his show, Bort on his show last night was literally like, well, I know some of you have already donated, but you got to donate again. We're down to the wire. Like, luckily the first fell on the weekend, but if I don't have money in the bank account by tomorrow, then it all comes crashing down. Like, what are you doing, bro? Pick up a job. Like even if it's like a minimum wage job or whatever minimum wage is around Las Vegas, right? Even if it's at McDonald's. It's got to offset some of the cost, right? I'm not expecting it to pay for everything. But if people are donating to you, I bet you, what's the name? The Lands, Richard and Hilda or some shit. I bet you they're donating 2 or 3 times a fucking week, hundreds of dollars. They've got to be. Who's left? He's ran everybody else off. Oh no, what froze?
From TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in?
I don't think anybody likes working, but
Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there.
Street performer,
Anyways,
that's right.
I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindeland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome everybody. I am Will Bird, and this is the Cold Beer Confessional. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. What's happening? What's up? Liam had his mock trial meeting today, and they're getting ready to go to the state tournament at the towards the end of March down in Nashville, and that's exciting. It's the 20th and 21st, I think, it's a competition. Me and Mariah are going to try to go, and some of my other family members, my nephew and my sister, and my niece is already down there. My nephew and my sister are going to try to go. My niece is already down there in college, near Nashville. And excited about that. Nashville hotels are fucking expensive. Well, I guess it's all relative. They're like a couple $100 a night, like for any hotel within any normal distance. I don't know if Liam's team's going to do a fundraiser or not. They get basically, I think the bar association in the state of Tennessee, if you stay at the hotel they want you to stay at, like the kids, they provide 4 rooms for 1 night, but it's obviously it takes 2 nights. But I think they're going to be able to do fundraisers and pay for all that. Me and Mariah have to get a hotel. Me, Mariah, my sister, my nephew, and my niece all have to get a hotel. But I'm excited about that. Get to hang out in Nashville, I guess. I'll probably stream from there, I reckon. I don't know. If they announce a fundraiser, I doubt it'll be anything online. But if for some reason it is online, I'll send you guys the link. It'll probably be something like a bake sale or something like that. It won't be an online thing. But if it is online, I'll let you guys know. But that's where I was at tonight, and now I'm here. So it should be fun to stream from Nashville. I don't think I can stream the competition or videotape the competition because it's in a federal courthouse. But streaming from Nashville will be fun. And there's we'll be staying Thursday night and Friday night, and Thursday night it'll just be me and Mariah running around or something. So we might get a good stream out of it and raise some money. I don't know. Maybe we'll do a stream to raise some money for the team. I don't know. We'll figure something out. But I am excited about it. Sounds fun. What are you guys up to? What's happening? I saw we got some footage that we need to watch, I guess. Oh, here's the Bort post, by the way. He says, let's do this. Open link. Poor old Bort. Sorry, everybody. There won't be a show tonight, March 2nd, 2026. I'm sending this message from my iPhone using data. My internet connection is down. If you want to help with funding so that we can get back on the air, please consider Zelle or PayPal. Remember, like 2 weeks ago, he's like, I'm done. Until you guys prove that you really want me here and donate enough money to pay for everything in my life, I'm done. We'll see if I ever come back. And then he was back like 2 nights later. Like, I don't understand. Yeah, the hotels. So the hotel they're staying in kind of sucks and it's still expensive. I think it's like $160 a night, even with the block discount. So I think maybe all of us going. So that'd be me, Mariah, my nephew, my sister, my niece will be there for at least one night. I think I might just try to find an Airbnb in the area. And we can just all stay together at a place, but we'll see. I don't understand. Like, he knows this doesn't support. And this motherfucker took on a lease. Like, he was complaining about his hotel and took on a fucking lease knowing he didn't have any stable finances. None whatsoever. I saw a clip I want to show you guys. It was the clip from his show last night where he's like, well, thankfully the first fell on a weekend. So, I didn't have to worry about having the money by the first, but I got to have it tonight. Step right up. For just $30 a month, you can sponsor his lifestyle. I think this is it. We'll see.
Almost 2 hours. We've been on here an hour and 40 minutes.
He's in the chat. He's in the chat. 100% he's in the chat right now. If you want to talk to Bort, he's here. He's not doing a show. He's in the chat. This is what he lives for. Oh, shit. I didn't reset that, did I? I don't know. Maybe it'll reset itself. We'll see.
One last time, make a plea with you to please help out with a donation, okay? And we did get one donation, and so far that's it.
It had to be. He had to do something. He had to do some lying or some very imaginative paperwork to get approved. All right, he's got an eviction. He almost had 2 evictions. The hotel he was staying at wanted to throw him out. He just recently had an eviction from the last place he had. He's bounced from hotel to hotel to hotel. He has no income whatsoever to show.
I haven't seen anybody else subscribe, and there hasn't been any more. Let me double check that before I say that. Looks like we got one more follower, picked up one more thumbs up.
Hell yeah.
The Burt derangement syndrome people are pounding away on the thumbs down.
I don't think he thought out the BDS, right? Everybody else thinks he's talking about big dick syndrome over here.
I saw in a chat room where one of them says that they have 5 accounts and they go in every night and they give 5 thumbs down.
When do you have 5 accounts and do 5 thumbs down?
And they are all in the chat room.
Dedication.
Oh, that's so good. Oh, good. So my supporters are not as aggressive, apparently, and don't want to create multiple accounts and do the same thing for me, apparently. That's okay.
You want your supporters to make multiple accounts and give thumbs up?
Most importantly, if you can help out with a donation tonight, please think about doing that. Please don't think about doing it. Just freaking do it.
Don't even think about it. Just do it. No time to think.
I need your help, okay? I got to get the bills paid tonight because the first fell on a Sunday. And if I don't have it in the bank in the morning, all hell's going to break loose. I'm just saying. So we need to raise $300. So
Hello, Bort. Offer's still good. I'll give you a crisp $20 bill and breakfast if you spoon me. Okay?
Anybody out there
it's out there, Bort.
Make a donation tonight, and we will be back on the air tomorrow night to talk about whatever else is happening in the Middle East.
In the arms of an angel.
We've got a 85-degree
For just $73 a day, you can support Abort in your local area.
day today in Las Vegas. Amazing. And the cold is over now, and it's springtime, and I want to just come out of the chute firing up and going. I need your help to do that.
He was supposed to go on some type of release the Epstein files march, and then he got kicked off of it or something.
So please donate using Zelle or PayPal. All you need is my name, Bert, at bertlynch.com. That's all. I look forward to hearing from
He couldn't even be part of the pedophile march.
God bless. Thank you all very much for
Sorry, that's funny.
being here tonight. And I'm glad I was able to come on and do something with you. We will catch up tomorrow night, I hope, if everything is still turned on. God bless.
So, again, with the guilt trip, I hope we'll be here tomorrow. But, you know, if everything doesn't get turned off, right? It's this appeal to, like, pity me, send me money. His slogan, Fell Runner, is I'll watch the news so you don't have to. So what he claims he does is he watches news all day long. This is why he can't have a job. Hours and hours and hours of consuming the news. So he could give you a truncated version of it with his opinion in it. That's his claim. I don't know why anybody would want that. Like, why wouldn't you just get your news from a direct source? I don't know. But that's his show. That's what he does. I watch the news, so you don't have to. AI is described as ushering in the Antichrist. He says he wants nothing to do with it, and that selling something like that would be wrong. He also talks about how, let's just watch it. Fuck it.
But that's one of the reasons why I rely
Tired of
on
reading
stuff like
already.
Alex here for updates because, I mean, he's got a crew of 20 people or so working for him to help suss out that sort of thing. And I'm just here all by myself. By the way, AI sucks. I agree, Tommy. And Brad and Phil are out there investing in AI.
Oh, because the
telling everybody else
jigglers.
to invest in AI. AI is going to usher in the Antichrist.
Ah,
And I
You don't
think
say.
it's evil, and I don't want anything to do with it. And there are our former, guys that we all thought were helping us make America great again, and all they were doing, and all they have done, is use their platforms to sell multi-level marketing. And this AI investment that they're doing is another version of multi-level marketing. They're getting commission off of everybody that signs up. And I am sitting here broke as hell because I haven't tried to sell you guys anything. All I've asked you to do is donate when you can. And as a result, I can't pay my bills. And they're getting rich. And I'm the one getting criticized. It doesn't make any sense to me. I see that, but that's one of the reasons why I rely on stuff like Alex.
even if, this is the one I was looking for. Even if you've already donated, listen.
Job opportunities, I gave up a lot. Job opportunities, I gave up a lot. I live hand to mouth now.
Isn't that a category on? Oh, that's ass to mouth. My bad. I'm sorry. I misspoke.
My haters love it when they hear that I'm facing eviction. Well, I cleared up the last one.
I would love it if you'd get a fucking job. I would love it if you come on and did a show and said, look, guys, I got my hat in my hands or my toupee or whatever the fuck. I got my Just for Men black shoe polish in my hand. I'm only going to be able to do a show probably on, maybe we'll do a show on like Monday and we'll do a show on Saturday. And then I'll try to squeeze in a show in between because I took a job that has a wage. That's what I'd love.
And there's going to be another one coming if I don't get some help.
I took care of that last eviction.
Last one, facing eviction. When they hear that I'm facing eviction. Well, I cleared up the last one.
So he made a partial payment.
And there's going to be another one coming if I don't get some help.
We're in sync over here, Fell Runner.
So if, like me, you're still a patriot and you still want to fight for this country, help me fight. Think about going to Zelle or PayPal tonight and sending a donation. Even if you've already helped this week twice, please help again. It's that.
Even if you've already donated this week, twice this week, please donate a third time, guys. Even if you've already donated twice, please donate a third time.
Think about going to Zelle or PayPal tonight and sending a donation.
I wonder if he saw that show where we were talking shit about him and made like fucking $600 one show.
Even if you've already helped this week twice, please help again.
Do it again.
It's that desperate.
Hilda, land.
Job opportunities. I gave up a lot.
Robert, land. The only people still donating to me. Donate again.
Tonight we're going to keep it short because we have, I mean, that's the only thing that I covered today. I didn't go and look up a whole bunch of other stuff to share with you. And so here it is. We have it. Sing, follow me.
That was it. I only got one topic tonight.
Just before, I was actually in the Air Force in 80 when Ronald Reagan got elected.
Not even a full year.
The Iranian hostages were released on the day he was inaugurated because he told them, we're coming for you and we're going to destroy you if you don't release them. And it's going to be the first thing I do as president of the United States. They believed him and they let hostages that had been held for 444 days under Jimmy Carter.
Surely not.
Feckless. Jimmy Carter sent the Iranian raiders, which I think was called just before.
He's 11 months in service. That's Bort, everybody. Bort.
The power of Christ compels you to give little Bert a little kiss.
Give little Bort a little kiss. Thank you, Bort. Appreciate that. Let's talk Iran.
So if Khamenei is dead, who's in charge? And when President Trump tells the Iranians that now is the time to take back...
By the way, Dr. J said it the other day on the show, but their political system is so convoluted, right? Like they have elections, they have a president, they have something like kind of like Congress, they have a bunch of different things, right? But their Ayatollah is basically in charge, like a spiritual leader is in charge of everything. Like even if your Congress and your president and everybody passes a law, the spiritual leader could come in and be like, no, not doing that. Hey, I don't know. It's very complicated and weird.
Their country? What does that look like? I mean, things are pretty hectic in Iran right now, so to better understand some of the dynamics, we're joined today by Jonathan Saya. John was born and raised in Tehran and today works as a research analyst at Foundation for Defense of Democracies, where he focuses on all things Iran. You can follow John's work at the link in the description below, and with that, let's get to the conversation. All right, John, thank you so much for taking the time, man. I'm sure you're getting requests left, right, and center. It's pretty chaotic these last few days, but really wanted to get your thoughts on this. And the audience loved you in the last appearance, so we had to pull you back. If we could start real quick, who's in charge in Iran?
Well, it's great to be back. Of course, thank you for having me. Just because the supreme leader is dead, of course, we shouldn't assume the regime is gone. I know they've kind of created a council, as you heard, and one of them is head of judiciary, the president, and an ayatollah, i.e. just a clergy. They're different ayatollahs that are at least in a nominal sense, quote unquote, leading the country. But we have to remember a lot of times when we say the supreme leader called the shot, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps executed the operations. But that said, the IRGC and the supreme leader were always aligned on everything. So even though they technically took orders from the supreme leader, they nonetheless would carry out those attacks anyway. So what we see right now is that, of course, you have the military apparatus, RGC is the main one, and you have this quote-unquote political leadership. It's debatable how much influence they have. But more importantly, when we talk about decisions, the question is, what are the...
So the requirements for Social Security are not only... basically, you have to have 10 good years in, but you have to have, out of the last 10 years, you have to have, like, what is it? How many good quarters you have? Hold on. Basically, he would have had to have worked 4 out of the last 10 years, maybe. 40 credits, a credit per quarter, 62. He has even if he had enough paid in, he's not been working in the last 10 years, right? Not a normal fucking job.
decisions to be made. So, the Islamic Republic for the longest time, of course, was anticipating a U.S. attack. So in that capacity, I think they've...
What's up, Grassroots? Hey. Appreciate it. Thank you for the donation. I don't know why the alert didn't go off. Maybe it'll go off later. Or maybe it's not connected. I don't fucking know. Thank you.
already have a strategy in place that even if there's no leadership, they still were to pursue their tactics. And it, of course, is regional war, like they've threatened. So, if you're an RGC officer or like not a high-level commander, you know what to do. Your job is to just attack regional U.S. bases, Israel, and just, like I said, create a form of chaos that would really act as the deterrent, quote unquote, is debatable whether it's having that impact. And of course, we know they've been, even if they wanted to negotiate, we know they don't really negotiate in good faith. They never provide concessions or compromises. So there's really no big decision to be made, I guess, if that makes sense.
So it's hard then to talk about kind of the or is it hard to talk about the ideology right now in the regime if we're talking about kind of being ruled by a group of people? Is it possible that some of those are hardliners and some of them are not, or is it probably pretty uniform in their views?
It's always been uniform in your views.
Okay.
The way to look at it is, you have the quote unquote reformist camp that you had the former President Rouhani, the current president Pezeshkian, but the former President Rouhani, he's the one that actually led the JCPOA. But that, of course, is part of the regime's tactic. For the longest time, if they wanted to reach out to the West or, somehow appease their population, they try to elevate that network of reformists. I guess the way to look at it is that when it comes to internal unrest, a hardliner would call you a rioter instead of a protester and then kill you, but a reformist would call you a protester, but still would kill you. So it's a rhetoric, it's rhetorical for the most part. I would say this last point, I do think there might be a push from that camp and them signaling to Washington, that's a very high probability, that they're trying to unify and signal to this administration to say, if you get rid of this RGC and these crazy hardliners, we're not like them, we're the pragmatist one. You can deal with us. You don't have to do full-on regime change. You can still use us, kind of, I guess, a Maduro situation, more or less. But when it comes to ideology, practice...
Okay, you need a total of 40 credits, and you get 1 credit per quarter. And to have a credit, you have to, like in 2026, you just had to make at least like $2,000, right? In wages, or if you're self-employed, it's higher, I think. Anyways, when you've earned $7,560, you've earned 4 credits for the year, okay? But 20 of those credits has to be within the last 10 years. So 5 years of your work experience has to be within the last 10 years, unless you're like a young worker, right? There's some people that go out in the workforce, get fucked up within their first 2 or 3 years of working, and they get kicked out. The only stipulation here is for young workers, right? You haven't been able to be in the workforce as long as you would have needed to been.
The current foreign minister, who is technically a reformist, said he's not going to back down on enrichment. They've never said anything negative about the RGC publicly. We have no reason to think their strategy would be any different ideologically.
Gotcha. It's tricky. I saw President Trump, I think it was an interview with the New York Times maybe, where they asked, who do you think is going to be in charge now? And he said, well, we killed, or Israel killed whoever carried out that strike the second.
Oh, and Iran is a Muslim country, but they are Shia, not Sunni. And Shia and Sunni fucking hate each other. So I may not have this right, but from what I remember, the Sunni are the traditionalists in the Muslim world. They believe that they had the Prophet Muhammad, and then they had this line that passed down through like 4 different guys before it got to Muhammad's cousin, who is named Ali. The Shia believe that that's wrong, that the Prophet basically passed down his powers or whatever. The Prophet Muhammad went straight to Ali, and those 3 people in front of him are not involved. And that is the split between the 2 different religions, and they fucking hate each other.
And 3rd and 4th people in order. So it makes me wonder about the planning here. Like, yeah.
I mean, I think that is the tactic to ensure that. I mean, I think it was an Israeli official that said anonymously that they're going after past, current, and future leadership. They want to ensure that, this regime does not have the capacity to really, like you pointed out, I guess, make decisions.
When we were in Iraq, they gave us a crash course on their religion and stuff, and how to talk to them or approach them, and what they believed and why they fucking hated each other. That's what I remember.
As to what the long-term planning is, I think Trump was more or less clear that the idea is to empower the Iranian people. We can get into that. Of course, I know that's a bit vague as to what that even means.
Okay.
But I highly doubt there's many in Washington that have faith in leveraging different elements within the Islamic Republic. I just don't see that as happening.
Interested in your thoughts on kind of, it sounds like maybe the delegation of authority through the IRGC. So you're talking about how Khamenei and the IRGC was kind of, they're always making the same decision. So maybe his being removed doesn't...
Saddam was weird, okay? Saddam Hussein was weird because he was a Ba'athist. He was part of the Ba'ath Party, which is Sunni, but Iraq was mostly Shia. So it was strange that he was the leader of a majority Shia country as a Sunni.
Change the direction of the IRGC, but there have been a lot of statements that they've pushed kind of release authority, for lack of a better term, down the chain to regional or local company commanders. That's something that, you know, is normal in a Western military and a NATO military. We understand that. We know that Russia struggled with that a lot at the beginning of the war. How likely is that in the Iranian military? Is that the type of force that is able to do that kind of decentralized command, or is that going to be more of a short-term thing and probably fizzle out, do you think?
So the main differentiator here is the role of ideology. Of course, when we look at the armed personnel or different pillars of the regime, not all of them are ideologically devoted. I think many of them are corrupt, many of them are opportunists, and many of them actually, believe in this like Islamist rhetoric, and I think that's key. So as to whether they can still operate without a command, we've seen them more or less do that. I think they know.
Oh, another talking point about Iran that I was arguing on Facebook today with this guy, simply because you can look this up, okay? Obama gave Iran $1.7 billion. That happened. Okay? Now, why did he do it? It was their own fucking money. It wasn't taxpayer money. It wasn't hush money. It wasn't for hostages. It was their own money. And it was leverage in a negotiation when he got them to agree to the nuclear deal. So what happened right before their latest revolution in the 70s was we were sort of allies. Well, we were allies with them, right? We traded with them. We were partners with them. We talked to them, and we had agreed to do an arms deal with them. And they sent us $400 million. And then boom, revelation kicks off, and radicals take over, and blah, blah, blah. And we're like, we're not doing your arms deal. In fact, not only are we not going to do your arms deal, the hostage situation, the shit going on, we're not even giving you fucking money back. So we held their $400 million from, I think, like 79 until Obama returned it. That $400 million sat in a fucking bank account and grew interest over almost 30 years. Over 30 years. And then we returned. It was part of like negotiations, like leverage and shit, but we had to give them their money back. It's just their money, right? They wanted a fucking refund. And he's like, yeah, I'll agree to that as long as we get the rest of this deal done. It wasn't hush money. It wasn't to be, somebody was like, oh, it was all, every bit of it was hush money. He didn't want them talking about the deal they did. The deal was public. We could see the deal. You can go read the deal right now.
What the red lines are. So if you ask any IRGC personnel right now, is that of course we're going to continue to strike back against the United States. We're going to create a regional war, and we're ready to crack down internally. This is something they've been more or less prepared for. They've seen it. They've seen what happened to Iraq. This was a contingency plan for the longest time. Whether that's working, that's a different scenario, or how sustainable that is. So to your point, even if we were to get regime change, these rogue elements are probably still going to pose a threat even post regime collapse. So we have to really keep that in mind, how we're going to address that. Whether they're going to fully be eradicated, I think long term,
I think it's close to like 90% or Sunni.
Look promising more so. For example, you look at Hamas, even though you really kill their leadership, you still have like random elements. Or same with ISIS. I don't see that being fully applicable to the Iranian context, given that the masses are so resentful towards them. I do think once it really gets down to the hyper-local level, these people have been identified by their neighbors, by different, governments, NGOs, by different activists. So I think that idea that post-regime change activists or Iranian nationalists would have.
Yeah, I'm not saying like we never pay countries, right? We pay countries and we do this and we do trades and we give them free labor and free materials. Sometimes we help build them up, which is part of like nation building, right? China does the same thing with their Belt and Road Initiative. But this wasn't that, right? This was, hey, I guess, yeah, we got to release your money that we've just been holding for no reason really at all, other than we decided to for the last 30 plus years.
Have to really go and address these challenges is going to be a major phase of this war.
All right, so I definitely want to get into what we're thinking the Iranian people might do here or could be capable of doing here. We'll get to that right after a quick word from today's sponsor. So as you can imagine, in this line of work, I spend a lot of time online on a bunch of different websites around the world, which means every single time I log on, my internet footprint is
I like Preston Stewart.
exposed.
Seems like a good dude.
I partnered with today's sponsor, CyberGhost VPN, to keep my online activity private. A lot of people don't realize just how much information gets collected during regular, everyday browsing. I mean, incognito mode does not actually protect you, and public Wi-Fi can make things even sketchier. Your internet provider, work networks, and third parties can still track what you're doing. Now, CyberGhost VPN secures your connection by encrypting and rerouting your internet traffic. That helps keep your real IP address hidden and your activities private. It's also great for accessing geo-restricted content on 40+ platforms like Netflix and Disney+, and changing your virtual location can even help you find better deals when shopping or traveling. Now, CyberGhost works on Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, and other devices, and one subscription lets you protect up to 7 devices at one time with a setup that's quick and easy. With over 38 million users worldwide and over 20,000 excellent reviews on Trustpilot, it's one of the best products in the market. Now, use the link in the description to get an 84% discount plus 4 months free. You'll also get a 45-day money-back guarantee and 24/7 customer support. So you can try CyberGhost completely risk-free and see how it works for you. Check out the link in the description or the pinned comment, and thank you so much to CyberGhost for sponsoring today's video. All right, so we've heard President Trump and other senior officials recently talk about, supporting the Iranian people. I think the term, what you said, this is your time, stand up, and the American people support you. What does that look like? We saw the protests a few months ago, brutal crackdown. I feel like something we don't hear about, and I don't know, maybe it's because it doesn't exist. Is there an underground, or is there a resistance? Is there a group or an entity that could heed that?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question.
Few things we need to, I guess, really get into. First, you point out messaging and how Trump was messaging to the Iranian people. And I do think that looking at that and that 8-minute video, especially the last 3 minutes that was talking to Iranians, compare that to the 12-day war. The messaging was much more consistent. So during the 12-day war, the war started by Israelis, of course. They went after ballistic missiles, similarly as they did right now, and military capabilities and nuclear sites. Towards the end, they shifted to repression and they started to signal to Iranians. But there were contradictions there. They were, at the same time, hacking state TV, telling Iranians to rise up, while also issuing evacuation orders of Tehran. Everybody fled Tehran. So it didn't. Nobody took to the street because the communication to Iranian was not clear. And I think
tell them to evacuate and also rise up.
At the time, Israel was more so seen as the entity that was initiating the conflict. Right now, what we're saying is that U.S. and Israeli strikes are more so perceived as responding to Iranians' demands or like pleads for international humanitarian assistance. So that's one thing. And I think the messaging there, going back to that, was really critical when he said, now's not the time. When the president said, now's not the time, bombs are going to be dropping. He said that, I think, today as well. When it is time, we will let you know. And you have to look at what the Crown Prince said. So he's been leading this movement. I know you and I talked about whether Iran's anti-regime leadership can have the political leadership outside and have the body inside the country. I think that's what we really would be diving into if we want to answer this question. But the Crown Prince also said, now's not the time. You have to wait, and I'll let you know when you have to take to the streets. We do know he has the ability to bring the masses out. So when you talk about the brutal crackdown, which was truly horrifying, I mean, I think, thinking about that scale of 40,000, and I unfortunately believe those numbers because population of 90 million, Tehran is 15 million. They have 10 cities over 1 million, and they brought in thousands of proxies outside to open fire on these unarmed protesters. Unfortunately, the numbers make sense. Now, with that said, every Iranian at this point has lost a loved one, really, myself included. It's really, the country's in a state of mourning. But that said, when the Crown Prince called on protests to take place, and that's when we saw the largest anti-regime demonstrations. We saw millions come out. That was unprecedented. Tells us he does have the capacity. He does have the, I guess, the leadership to bring people out. And I think that was the main criticism of any form of government in exile.
So I understand this is probably a good time or I would think this is probably a good time to call people to the street, because if there was going to be the military or police called to take who is even given that order? Trump said they had 2 or 3 people lined up to put in charge of Iran. Then he said, wait, no, I misspoke. We actually killed those people. He literally said, like, his top picks to put in place. Well, the attack was so good, we actually killed those people too. So back to square one, I guess.
Quote unquote. And similar to 1979, Khomeini was not in country and he still brought out the masses. And I think that's critical. So getting into the details, and sorry there's a long answer, but it's a very comprehensive question.
It's important.
Getting into the details, how would that really play out? I think, one, they're targeting the repression apparatus like they haven't before. So especially today, if you look at Israeli strikes.
You're talking about Israeli and U.S. strikes.
Yes. And to differentiate, for the most part, Israelis seem to be, and I might be wrong, but Israelis seem to be the ones carrying out operations in Tehran. They're the ones going after buildings and assassinations, while the U.S. force is mostly focused on major sites, naval force, headquarters, silos potentially. So that is the interesting division of labor between the two. But Israeli strikes also, Israelis are more transparent with whom they struck because they want to speak to Iranians more. They've been really going after the Basij headquarters, IRGC. So even compared to the 12-day war, this is really unprecedented. So they're laying the foundation there to allow Iranians to come out. Now, I know that sounds, it's too big picture because you might get rid of IRGC leadership, but you still have foot soldiers, the repression forces that are still getting deployed right now. They have set up checkpoints. So it comes down to either hyper-local attacks, meaning you have a drone base inside Iran, because fighter jets are not going to do it. It needs to be more smaller scale. You need to have a drone base inside Iran that would target specific squads. And this is something Israelis have the capability to do. They did in the 12-day war. Or once you call on the masses to come out, and and Iranians genuinely see this as a revolutionary movement. They see this as now or never. When the strikes were happening, you saw videos of people cheering on the street. When Khamenei was killed, they were dancing, fireworks went off. So the idea is that it's about liberation, but they know it's up to them to finish the job. As the president noted as well, that he's going to facilitate the conditions, but it's up to the Iranians to do the final knockout. And once you really bring out millions to the streets, it would have to be a coordinated effort by the opposition to inform them that you have to go after this police station, this Basij force. They have to arm themselves, or you need to have hyper-local attacks, or a combination of the two. So once you see that happening, and once the leadership is done, the mid-level officials are either defected or killed, and you have millions come out after really, there's no ballistic missiles, well, no launchers left, and the regime is weakened, I think that's when you start to see really the movement to prevail. Now, so how that would work out, how can you secure Iran to the point that you can ensure that the opposition can actually enter the country? That's the next phase. Sorry about the long answer, but I hope that kind of addresses your question.
Stuff, man. It sounds so daunting for a population to rise up against an authoritarian regime like this, one that just recently showed what they're willing and capable to do. I'm having a hard time getting to that, thinking that the Iranian people would be able to do, the amount of bravery needed to do that is staggering. Is there a possibility of any regional forces maybe helping with that transition in some way? President Trump seems to have signaled that American boots on ground is not happening. That language has been wishy-washy. Are you looking to any countries in the region?
Oh, thank you very much. Oh, yeah, your friend. Prayers and well wishes for Kaz, Iranian member of Connor's chat. This hasn't been heard from in a few days. I hope it's just because the internet's out, but I hope he's all right.
That maybe could help facilitate that type of transition?
Only Israel. And when you look at Saudi Arabia, you look at Turkey, Qatar, UAE is not really in the mix, Oman. Look at these 4 or 5 regional countries. None of them really have an incentive to see the regime gone. So they're not going to get that involved. They don't have the capacity, number one. 2, for example, with Turkey and Qatar, these are Muslim Brotherhood-backed states. They work with the Islamic regime. They finance Hamas together. Money laundering operations is huge for Oman, UAE, and of course, Turkey with Tehran. Saudi, on the other hand, even though he's not Muslim Brotherhood-backed, they don't want a competitor. They want to be the only ones that are having these military agreements with the United States. They want to be the one that's selling oil. No one ideally wants a competitor on there. They don't want a rival. Ideally, what they would want is a weakened Islamic Republic that doesn't attack them, but at the same time is staying down. And that's what the Iranians really think. People on the ground, they don't find any other country to be their ally, increasingly Israel, because they know for a fact that Israel is the only Middle Eastern country that wants to see the regime gone. That's why I think also the society as a whole is more so shifting towards being open to Israeli intervention. This is not to say the average Iranian is not critical of certain Israeli campaigns, whether in Iran or in Gaza or whatever. I'm not making that claim. It's more so saying that this is a pivotal moment where us as Iranians and the Israelis and the Americans are fighting against a shared enemy, and it's really about strategic objectives here. You point out ground troops. I do agree that it's unlikely. I know Trump said he didn't rule it out. It's very unlikely for us. I doubt it. But the forces that are in the country are Israeli operatives. They were active, of course, during the 12-day war. I know for a fact they definitely have to be on the ground right now, given the deep penetration of the regime's apparatus. And I think they would probably have some trick up their sleeves that we haven't seen yet. Looking at the pager attacks, looking at how they pulled off assassination of Khamenei in the 12-day war. I'm inclined to think there's more to it. And once the masses come out, I do think they're going to play a key role somehow to help with this transition of power.
When the protests were being suppressed, I made the argument, people were saying, well, if the U.S. or Israel attacks, that'll rally people around the flag. And I said, no, not like this. I mean, they want these organizations gone. Now we're seeing the effects of some of those strikes. And it's hard to sift through everything, but there no doubt have been strikes that have hit civilian infrastructure, it looks like. Again, overwhelming amount of information right now. Is it possible that a poor execution here could shift that balance and we could see a rally around the flag? How likely do you think that is?
I think it's highly unlikely because the regime killed 40,000 in 2 days, maybe 3, 48 hours it all it took.
We'd have to fuck up
Israel can't
bad.
match those numbers, which is so unlikely. I don't really see that happening. Also, a lot of times when we talk about quote unquote civilian infrastructure, we need to keep in mind, Islamic Republic officials, it's been confirmed that they hold meetings in hospitals. They have used schools for detention centers of protesters, or to really as an operating base for security. So it's really the Islamic Republic itself using the civilian infrastructure. They use ambulances a lot of the times to move troops around or forces around when protests happen. So they're the ones actually leveraging these. So when we hear about civilian targets being hit, I have no doubt that unfortunately, definitely some strikes end up causing damage to the hospital. I think Israelis even confirmed one of those. They apologized and they said it might be minor or whatever the case may be. But that's it. I just don't see any scale of attack for it to match the regime's brutality. I mean, and that's just, the 40,000 was just within 48 hours. There's so much more to it. I mean, how they treated the victims' families afterwards was another wave of repression in its own that led to so much resentment. The way they just forced families to dig through piles of bodies to find their loved ones, if they were even willing to, and the loved ones were shot in the face or in the heart. And on top of that, they make you pay for it. They're like, oh wow, we use an AK actually on your son, which is more expensive than a 9mm. And they charge like $5,000 up to $7,000 they charge for this just to release the body. And it's this you have sheer brutal force, and then you have this real, I don't even know how to put this, but this psychological warfare really against the population, meaning we're killing you in masses and there's nothing you can do about it. And let me demonstrate.
And charging you for it.
This official, there's this military personnel that was standing at one of these detention centers that they had like piles of bodies inside. The mom and dad went in to pick up their child, their daughter, and they looked the person up and down and said, you know what? If you go buy us like a few sandwiches, we might be able to let you go find your daughter's body. Maybe I don't know if I'm in the mood for that. So like this is the people, this is the mindset that the Iranians are dealing with for the last 50 years. So like side effects of like certain bombing campaigns that are realistically going after IRGC officials that live in a part of Tehran is not comparable to what Iranians have endured for half a century.
I don't want to get too hung up on these hypotheticals down the road, but when I hear that, something that comes to mind is I don't know if I could forgive people that did that to my family and loved ones. And when we're talking about what comes next in Iran, I mean, all of the regime officials, all of the secret police, they're not all going to die by U.S. and Israeli airstrikes. Plenty of them will survive. And I would think that there has to be some sort of integration back into society. But I mean, is that feasible, do you think?
Such a good question. So we saw what happened with de-Baathification. Many of these commanders, and they ended up joining ISIS. To first, I guess, answer an easier version of that is what happens to the proxies? How are they supposed to get integrated? And I think those are easier to integrate. For a Hezbollah fighter or like an Iraqi militia fighter, for them to somehow be involved in their national armies or become a brigade within the national armies as time goes on, I see that as more of a realistic outcome. Now, getting into the Iranian context. So the opposition leader and people as a whole, and the president too, they said, if you lay down your arms, join the movement, we'll spare your life. That has been very clear. That has been the message for so long. Do they believe that? So if you were involved in these horrific human rights violations, that you sexually abused women detainees, and then you removed their internal organs so it cannot be proven that they were victimized, do you really think they're going to spare your life? So, but that's not all of them, So I do think a good chunk of them have so much blood on their hands, and they're going to die until the end. That's what happened to the supreme leader. He's not going to flee. He's not going to give up. He was going to die until the end. A lot of them will. I think a lot of them are ready to die because they know they know they cannot escape, because who's going to take these IRGC guys in? Like Russia kind of sees them as a burn asset. I doubt China will take them in, especially these mid-level guys. Some of them that haven't done anything that heinous, and they know they haven't because they know the extent of their involvement. They're a little bit more likely. But that said, once the masses come out, I do think there's going to be a few days of just clashes. Because we can't really expect America or Israel to take out every person who's like affiliated with the Basij.
And this is from thousands of miles away. This is the kind of thing we look at and say, well, you need to embrace your neighbor, right? Like that's how you move. You join together and you peacefully move into the future. I just don't know if what you described that I would be able to do that. So it's very hard to look at someone else and say, well, figure it out. This is what has to happen. In terms of, we started by talking about who is in charge or not in charge, maybe is a better way to put it. Who are you watching for information coming out? When we used to kind of have an idea just a week ago about official statements from the Iranian regime. Where are those coming from right now, or who are you watching? So IRGC still puts out statement. The reconstruction headquarters, the Khatam al-Anbiya, they have a spokesperson that still hasn't been eliminated yet. He's putting out statements. The president here and there comes out. Larijani, another major actor, he's part of the Supreme National Security Council. So not all the political leadership has been eliminated, mind you, which is very interesting. I think they try to go after like the former president, Ahmadinejad. I don't know what happened with that. It's still unconfirmed. I think they got his bodyguards. So I yet don't know if
it's on purpose that Israelis have spared them or Americans have spared them, hoping maybe they can talk to these guys. I don't just see how that would even make sense. Maybe the real decapitation of political leadership might come after they're done with this wave, because the president said this might go on for weeks. So there's more time to it. So yeah,
we don't even know how long it'll go on.
Guy, the president.
Fucking Pete Hegseth got up in front of the goddamn press today and said, "We didn't start this war, but we'll finish it." Then who the fuck did?
Here and there he makes statements. The RGC also has a spokesperson, but I can't tell you I've heard anything. Also, the foreign minister, he went on NBC and he talked.
Is he in Iran right now, by the way?
Yeah,
foreign minister?
They all are. A lot of them actually left when the protests were happening last month. They were like in neighboring countries, or they were in Europe. A lot of them have sent out their families already, and they actually sent out a lot of money, billions they've been shipping out. A lot of them predict something. Things are going to go south for them. They're definitely preparing. I don't know if they can escape right now because I think the airspace is closed. But last thing I say on this, I have not been able to differentiate any interesting rhetoric coming from these different entities I mentioned. Is unifying, saying we're going to continue to kill the mighty American force and the Zionist entity, and we're not going to bow down, and we're not going to give up enrichment. Just same stuff.
Pretty unified message then, I guess. The last one here, and again, really appreciate your time, but right now it seems like we're in this midst of every hour there's just more strikes. So
that's what we're watching next, the press conference.
There's new footage coming out every time we open up the computer, be it Iranian strikes around the Middle East or U.S. or Israeli strikes in Iran. What are you watching for in the coming days in terms of something that will happen, or maybe something that doesn't happen that would be unique in where this goes?
That's a good point. So I think on the military front, we're not getting that much detail as to what they're hitting precisely. When I monitor it and I write about this daily, I try to compile as much information as I can. It's usually just vaguely says missile sites. And that's crucial, because if you really want to degrade their military capacity, we know they don't have an air force. Their proxies haven't really done much so far. They don't have that many capabilities. I know they attacked the U.S. embassy, but that was about it. So it comes down to these missiles, and these are and drones, of course, but mostly missiles. So it's not clear to me exactly if they've gone after the silos yet, and that's really key. I think so far they've gone after launchers or launch pads, which does make more sense, because you're probably looking at about 2,500 missiles. Most of them are short range that have been used. Some of them are medium range. Iran has a few long range ones. So most of them are like the 300-500 kilometer range that have been used against the Persian Gulf states. Against Israel, they use the 6 and the over 1,000 kilometer one, more or less. So I guess my question is, would they really destroy all these silos, or do they think just taking out the launchers is enough? So I think militarily, I'm looking out for that. If they're going to make any announcement as to how many numbers of missiles they've gone, so 2,500 is a lot. I think before the 12-day war they had 3,000. By the end of it, they had about 1,500. And doing the math right now, they started with about 2,500. They've launched about a couple hundred at Israel, 150 at UAE, 50-ish about at American bases here and there, and like another 50 at Qatar, some at Oman. About 500 have been fired so far, so they still have plenty. I want to see if the U.S. strategy is going to go after the silos or just that. So that's one thing I'm definitely looking out for militarily. Another one would be if they switch to hyper-local targeting. I know they've been hitting Tehran, as you mentioned. I want to hear more about details of assassinations, because the only people that they've named are commanders. And I'm sure because of how sensitive intelligence is, they cannot really say whom they killed, because it would foil it as to how they got.
There's been a claim now, because they haven't had a chance to justify. There's no way to really justify this. Now their current claim is, we knew they were getting ready to take a bunch of shots at our bases and shit, like they did in retaliation. We knew that they were getting ready to do that, so we had to do it first. They got a bunch of their sites to mitigate, I think Mike Johnson said this, to mitigate how much damage they could do, which is weird, because we hit them with a surprise attack, and it still took them 2 hours to even fucking start shooting shit back. If it takes them 2 hours, how close were they to doing it? Like, even after we hit them, it took 2 fucking hours for them to respond. So how close were they?
Got the information to begin with. But once they really start declassifying this and start telling us that, we've got XYZ mid-level officer in, that spot. I think ultimately we're waiting for the second phase, that we're going to be informed that the bombing campaign is done and it's about Iranians rising up. But I think it's going to take some time for us to get there. So yeah, really, I think we're looking at military updates coming from Israel or this administration.
You say maybe they don't put out the information because it could give away intelligence, but Israel is announcing this stuff like bombs go off, and like 12 hours later, we've got a graphic of like the flight plan and the inside look at the building. And I don't know, hopefully they're not burning sources left and right, but they are sharing information constantly.
But they're going after commanders. My point was like mid-level guys. If they start talking about, like, for example, if they tell, they said they killed like 40 high-level commanders. If they announce that, hey, we killed 1,000-foot soldiers that were involved in repression, that would be critical, which means it's time to rise up because we've killed enough of these guys.
Makes sense. All right, John, a lot happening. Appreciate you taking the time, sir.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so thank you again so much to John for taking the time. He's doing media spots left, right, and center, getting a lot of calls, as you can imagine. Very insightful in what he has to say about what's happening in Iran, predictions going forward. So, of course, be sure to follow John and his work at the link in the description below. Of course, don't forget to check the link in the description to grab the special CyberGhost VPN discount available now. It keeps your data safe while you browse and unlocks all blocked content online for just $2.03 a month. And, of course,
let's go to the, we're going to open this for in a second. Let's go to the Hegseth Kane press conference. Oh, I actually spelled his name right. That's cool. He was so condescending too. One of the reporters asked a question. He's like, "Did you not listen to what I just said? Were you didn't hear the answer that I just said? We didn't start this war. Get the fuck out of here, dude." It's almost like he puts together a bunch of colloquialisms and just strings them together. Like, we didn't start this war, but we'll finish it. And we're here for a long time, not a good time. And just like random fucking shit he puts together. All like one or two liners that he just stitches them all together. This is at the Pentagon, so there's no like legitimate news sources there at all. They didn't sign the pledge to suck Pete's dick or whatever.
Well, good morning. We just finished an update with Admiral Brad Cooper, the CENTCOM commander, across the CENTCOM AOR, our leadership and troops, as you would expect, doing a fantastic job. 2 days ago, under the direction and direct
A fourth soldier died as well, passed away from the injuries.
orders of President Donald J. Trump, the Department of War launched Operation Epic Fury, the most lethal, most complex, and most precise aerial operation in history. For 47 long years, the expansionist and Islamist regime in Tehran has waged a savage, one-sided war against America. They didn't always declare it openly, except for their constant chants of death to America. They did it through the blood of our people. Car bombs in Beirut, rocket attacks on our ships, murders at our embassies, roadside bombs in Iraq and Afghanistan, funded and armed by Iranian Quds Force and IRGC killers. My generation of veterans carry the names of brothers who never came home. Brothers butchered by Iranian-backed roadside bombs and well-armed militias, thousands of our own. We didn't start this war, but under President Trump, we are finishing it. Their war on Americans has become our retribution against their Ayatollah and his death cult. It took the 47th president, a fighter who always puts America first, to finally draw the line after 47 years of Iranian belligerence. He reminded the world, as he has time and time again, being an American means something unbreakable. If you kill Americans, if you threaten Americans anywhere on earth, we will hunt you down without apology and without hesitation, and we will kill you. President Trump has also been very consistent. Crazy regimes like Iran, hell-bent on prophetic Islamist delusions, cannot have nuclear weapons. It's common sense. Many have said...
That's why we obliterated them. Set them back decades.
But it takes guts to actually enforce it, and our president has guts. Iran's stubborn and self-evident nuclear pursuits, their targeting of global shipping lanes, and their swelling arsenal of ballistic missiles and killer drones are no longer tolerable risks. Iran was building powerful missiles and drones to create a conventional shield for their nuclear blackmail ambitions. Let me say that again. A conventional shield for their nuclear blackmail ambitions. Our bases, our people, our allies, all in their crosshairs. Iran had a conventional gun to our head as they tried to lie their way to a nuclear bomb. It almost worked under Obama and his terrible deal, but not under this president. Turns out the regime who chanted death to America and death to Israel was gifted death from America and death from Israel. This is not a so-called regime change war, but the regime sure did change.
We didn't start the war, but we'll finish it. But you did start the war. This is not a regime change war, but the regime did change.
And the world is better off for it. Today, in their desperation, the enemy is unmasked, as Iranian missiles and drones rain down indiscriminately on the hotels, airports, apartments, and other civilian targets of their neighbors. Cowardly terrorist tactics from a regime that for decades has trafficked in cowardly terrorist tactics, lies, death, and destruction to this day. The Iranian leadership has built nothing except proxies and missiles and drones and deeply buried nuclear factories and facilities. Peaceful nuclear ambitions do not need to be buried underneath mountains. Last June, Operation Midnight Hammer obliterated their nuclear program to rubble. Afterward, we told them plainly, that's it, now make a deal. They arrogantly refused. We said, rebuild it, and we'll stop you again, this time far worse. Well, President Trump, Secretary Rubio, Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, they bent over backwards for real diplomacy, offering pathway after pathway to peace. I watched it. I was there. They tried over and over and over again earnest attempts at peace. The former regime had every chance to make a peaceful and sensible deal. But Tehran was not negotiating. They were stalling, buying time to reload their missile stockpiles and restart their nuclear ambitions. Their goal, hold us hostage, threatening to strike our forces. Well, President Trump doesn't play those games. And as Secretary Rubio said after the Maduro raid, if you don't know, now you know. President Trump puts America and Americans first. He doesn't hesitate, and neither do our troops. The mission of Operation Epic Fury is laser-focused. Destroy Iranian offensive missiles, destroy Iranian missile production, destroy their navy and other security infrastructure, and they will never have nuclear weapons. We're hitting them surgically, overwhelmingly, and unapologetically. With every passing day, our capabilities get stronger and Iran's get weaker. We set the terms of this war, from start to finish. Our ambitions are not utopian. They are realistic, scoped to our interests and the defense of our people and our allies. Speaking of people, we hope the Iranian people take advantage of this incredible opportunity. President Trump has been clear, now is your time. To Iranian security forces, choose wisely. President Trump has also been clear about your fate in either direction. To the media outlets and political left screaming endless wars, stop. This is not Iraq. This is not endless. I was there for both. Our generation knows better, and so does this president. He called the last 20 years of nation-building wars dumb, and he's right. This is the opposite. This operation—
Yeah, just destroy the nation. Don't build it, idiots.
Clear, devastating, decisive mission. Destroy the missile threat, destroy the Navy, no nukes. Israel has clear missions as well, for which we are grateful. Capable partners, as we've said since the beginning, capable partners are good partners. Unlike so many of our traditional allies who wring their hands and clutch their pearls, hemming and hawing about the use of force. America, regardless of what so-called international institutions say, is unleashing the most lethal and precise air power campaign in history. B-2s, fighters, drones, missiles, and of course, classified effects.
Oh, and a bunch of F-15s, F-16s shot down in Kuwait by friendly fire.
All on our terms, with maximum authorities. No stupid rules of engagement, no nation-building quagmire, no democracy-building exercise.
They don't even know. What? First it was protesters, then it was this, then it was nuclear facilities, then it was, oh, they were going to hit our own bases with drones, and we found out about it. Like, who the fuck knows?
Politically correct wars. We fight to win.
That's right,
don't
bud.
waste time or lives. As the president warned, an effort of this scope will include casualties. War is hell, and always will be.
Any of your kids? Any of Trump's kids? Where's Barron?
A grateful nation honors the 4 Americans we have lost thus far and those injured. The absolute best of America. May we prosecute the remainder of this operation in a manner that honors them. No apology. Best of America. May we prosecute the remainder of this operation in a manner that honors them. No apologies, no hesitation, epic fury. The remainder of this operation lost thus far and those injured. The absolute best of America.
I know prosecute can be used this way, like to stay the course, like, but who does use it this way?
We prosecute the remainder of this operation in a manner that honors them. No apologies, no hesitation, epic fury for them and
Epstein's fury
before them.
You heard the man.
Too soon by Iranian radicals. Before I turn it over to General Kane for the operational update, let me speak straight to you, the Joint Force, our warriors on the front lines. This is your moment. This is the generational turning point America has waited for since 1979, and since the rudderless wars of hubris my generation, our generation, endured. Don't listen to the noise. Just stay focused. Our commander-in-chief is steady at the wheel. We face a determined enemy, but you are better. But we must prove it every single day. History doesn't care if we're tired, if we're scared, or if the fight feels big. It demands warriors who rise anyway. Peace through strength, the warrior ethos, lethality, unity of purpose, those are not slogans. They're the beating heart of what it means to wear the uniform, that uniform. You think clearly under fire, you act decisively in chaos, you uphold the Constitution, and you uphold our country without hesitation. We are not defenders anymore. We are warriors.
Uphold the Constitution and uphold our country?
Trained to kill the enemy and break their will. History is watching. Be the force you swore an oath to be. Focused, disciplined, lethal, and unbreakable. We will finish this on America First conditions of President Trump's choosing. Nobody else's, as it should be. And know this above all, President Trump and I have your back, always. Through fire, through criticism, through fake news, through everything.
Through fake news.
We unleash you because you are the best, most powerful, most lethal fighting force the world has ever seen. May Almighty God watch over you, and his providential arms of protection extend over you. Godspeed, warriors, and keep going. General Kane, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and good morning, everyone. The purpose of my portion of the briefing today is to update you and the American people on the actions taken thus far. The briefing will discuss the preparation, the planning, setting the force, the early operations, and how we're assessing the progress thus far. So let's get started. On Saturday, 28 February at 01:15 Eastern Standard Time, 9:45 a.m. local Tehran time, on the orders of the President of the United States, U.S. Central Command, under the command of United States Navy Admiral Brad Cooper, commenced Operation Epic Fury. As I said, I'm going to walk you through the initial phases of the operation, but first I want to express my deep condolences and the condolences of the Joint Force to the Department of War personnel killed and wounded in actions thus far. As the Secretary said, they're heroes and represent the best of our nation has to offer. They're true examples of what selfless service means. Our deepest and heartfelt condolences are with their families, their friends, and their units. We grieve with you and we will never forget you. Additionally, I stand here before you today grateful for each service member, planner, logistician, operator across our joint force, for our Department of War civilians, our intelligence community teammates, our interagency teammates who continue to stand in harm's way alongside us. I am proud of all of you as you take the fight to the enemy, and we are the best in the world at integrating, period. I want to extend my personal gratitude to the dedicated commanders and senior enlisted leaders and the enlisted members of the
This guy's just doing his job, right? Fuck PKSF.
Joint Force who are fighting this fight across the CENTCOM AOR. In addition to Admiral Cooper and Fleet Master Chief Compton, I want to highlight a few today. U.S. Army Central Command Commander Lieutenant General Pat Frank, who along with his team are fighting the counter-missile and counter-drone fight. United States Navy Central Command Commander Vice Admiral Kurt Renshaw and his team, who are engaged with the Iranian Navy and projecting American naval combat power from the seas. And United States Air Force Central Command Commander Lieutenant General Derek France and his leadership team, who are crushing Iranian targets from the air. I want to highlight the support to the CENTCOM fight from other combatant commands who are directly involved with this effort, to include U.S. Spacecom, U.S. Cybercom, and U.S. UCOM. I also want to specifically call out United States Transportation Command and U.S. STRATCOM for their contributions to this fight. We cannot project American combat power at the time and place of our choosing without both. And finally, I want to express how deeply thankful I am for the continued service and sacrifice of the entire Joint Force and their families. Their unwavering commitment and dedication are the cornerstones of this effort. So let me start with a few details. First, to be clear, as the Secretary said, this is not a single overnight operation. The military objectives that CENTCOM and the Joint Force have been tasked with will take some time to achieve, and in some cases will be difficult and gritty work. We expect to take additional losses, and as always, we will work to minimize U.S. losses. But as the Secretary said, this is major combat operations. So let me talk about the preparation and the planning. On February 28th, the full strength of America's armed forces came together in a unified purpose against a capable and determined adversary. The United States Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, Space Force, Coast Guard, and our reserve components integrated across our combatant commands and began coordinated operations with the Israeli armed forces of an unprecedented scale. As the Secretary laid out, our military objectives are clear. Our mission is to protect and defend ourselves and, together with our regional partners, prevent Iran from the ability to project power outside of its borders and be ready for follow-on actions as appropriate. Across every domain, land, air, sea, cyber, the U.S. Joint Force delivered synchronized and layered effects designed to disrupt, degrade, deny, and destroy Iran's ability to conduct and sustain combat operations. On the U.S. side, this marked the culmination of months and in some cases years of deliberate planning and refinement against this particular target set. From precision strikes against key military infrastructure to persistent intelligence and targeting integration to the close coordination of the components across vast distances, this operation again demonstrated America's reach, readiness, and professionalism, and that of our joint united force. It was historic not only in the operational scope, but in the level of joint integration displayed across every element of the joint force. And as I said earlier, this work is just beginning and will continue. So now to talk a little bit about setting the force and setting the theater. On the order of the Secretary of War over the last 30 days to reinforce deterrence and provide the President with credible options should action be required, the Joint Force began to systematically reposition assets and personnel across the region. These movements ensured that U.S. forces remained postured, protected, and ready to respond decisively for any...
So this is technically a military position, right? It's appointed by the president and then confirmed by Congress. But he was a general before, so he would have basically the general rank at this position, even though it's an advisory role. But he actually retired in 2024 and then was appointed after his retirement.
Emerging threat. This deployment included thousands of service members from all branches.
He was like a venture capitalist for a little bit.
Of advanced fourth and fifth generation fighters, dozens of refueling tankers, the Lincoln and Ford Carrier Strike Group and their embarked air wings, sustained flow of munitions, fuel, supplies, all supported with command and control, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance network. And the flow of forces continues today. In fact, Admiral Cooper will receive additional forces even today. This rapid buildup of forces demonstrated the Joint Forces' ability to adapt and project power at the time and place of our nation's choosing. I want to highlight a couple specific cases for you. The Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group, which many of you know was down in the Western Hemisphere, redeployed across the Atlantic to set the theater. The ship, her crew, their families, and the entire strike group took a deep breath and, as they always do, began planning to conduct combat operations. The integrated Reserve and National Guard forces have continued to demonstrate the value of America's reserve forces, including the Wisconsin Army National Guard operating in Kuwait and Iraq, and Air National Guard units from a variety of states to include Vermont and Virginia. In the case of the Vermont Air National Guard and the 158th Fighter Wing, they were mobilized for Operation Absolute Resolve and then were tasked to take their F-35As across the Atlantic instead of going home to be prepared to support this operation. The same is with our Air National Guard and Air Force Reserve Command tanker and mobility forces, who stepped right out of their civilian jobs to deploy and to protect the region. Lastly, I want to highlight the unsung heroes of warfare, our American logisticians and sustainment force, those who quietly work every day behind the scenes to project and sustain America's combat power. Our leaders from World War II were right when they said professionals do logistics. As regional tensions rose, the Joint Force elevated our force protection measures on the order of the Secretary and repositioned discreetly civilians and non-essential personnel designed to ensure the safety and security of our Joint Force. By the time operations began, only essential forces remained on our bases and in theater, all ready, capable to respond. So now let me move to H hour. At 3:38 p.m. on Friday, February 27th, the United States Central Command, through the Secretary of War, received the final go order from President Trump. The President directed, and I quote, "Operation Epic Fury is approved. No aborts. Good luck," close quote. In the region, every element of the Joint Force made their final preparations. Air defense batteries readied themselves, checking their systems to respond to Iranian attacks. Pilots and crews rehearsed their strike packages for the final time. Air crews began loading their final weapons, and 2 carrier strike groups began to move towards their launching points. Across the globe, our operation centers came alive in Tampa, Florida, here at the Pentagon, and of course forward in the Central Command AOR. As always, operational security was paramount as we sought to maintain and sustain the element of surprise. This operation was highly classified so that at H hour, the enemy would see one thing: speed, surprise, and violence of action. The first movers were U.S. Cybercom and U.S. Spacecom, layering non-kinetic effects, disrupting and degrading and blinding Iran's ability to see, communicate, and respond.
There's how the Space Force troopers did.
At H hour, the beginning.
What are they actually
major
called?
combat
Guardians?
Operations, 01:15 local Eastern Daylight Time, 9:45 local AM Tehran time. As dawn crept up across the Central Command AOR, the skies surged to life. More than 100 aircraft launched from land, sea, fighters, tankers, airborne early warning, electronic attack, bombers from the States, and unmanned platforms, forming a single synchronized wave. This was a daylight strike based on a trigger event conducted by the Israeli Defense Forces, enabled by the U.S. intelligence community. The first shooters at sea were Tomahawks unleashed by the United States Navy, closed in on Iranian naval forces, and began to conduct strikes across the southern flank in Iran. On the ground, forces fired precision standoff weapons, measured, deliberate, precise, and lethal. This was a massive, overwhelming attack across all domains of warfare, striking more than 1,000 targets in the first 24 hours. We are now roughly 57 hours into the operation. In the initial phase, CENTCOM's focus was systematic targeting of Iranians' command and control infrastructure, naval forces, ballistic missile sites, and intelligence infrastructure designed to daze and confuse them. Coordinated space and cyber operations effectively disrupted communications and sensor networks across the area of responsibility, leaving the adversary without the ability to see, coordinate, or respond effectively. The combined impact of these strikes, swift, precise, and overwhelming, has resulted in the establishment of local air superiority. This air superiority will not only enhance the protection of our forces, but also allow them to continue the work over Iran. Over the course of the last 2 days, the Joint Force has launched hundreds of missions from land and sea and delivered tens of thousands of pieces of ordnance. The effort continues to scale. This included American B-2 bombers, which again, similar to Midnight Hammer, flew a 37-hour round-trip sortie from the continental United States, dropping precision, penetrating munitions on Iranian underground facilities across the southern flank and slightly deeper. Additionally, Israel has separately executed hundreds of sorties against hundreds of targets. Beyond Air Force and Navy aircraft strike packages, coordinated salvos of precision standoff weapons from across the region have neutralized hundreds of pre-planned targets. As I mentioned earlier, in support of these kinetic operations, U.S. Cybercom and Spacecom have continuously layered effects to disrupt, disorient, and confuse the enemy. I will note that this operation had several combat firsts, which I'll allow at some point in the future Admiral Cooper to talk about since he owns the AOR. While we've prosecuted a relentless offensive campaign, our defense has been equally important. Across the theater, operations have remained steady and disciplined. Once again, our integrated air and missile defense network is performing exactly as it's intended. U.S. Patriot and THAAD batteries, along with ballistic missile defense-capable Navy destroyers, continue to coordinate and execute intercepts with precision and consistency. I wish that every American could hear the voice communications like I have as these joint operations centers remain calm, focused, and cool while executing under fire over and over again.
I did see Trump announce that he's finally going to go to the first White House Correspondents' Dinner or whatever. And I think it's because, the last one he went to was like in 2011, where they just like fucking roasted his ass, right? And he was like stone faced. They kept fucking making jokes at him. He did not seem to take it well. But this year, for the first year, as long as I can remember, there's no comedian hosting. Fucking Oz Perlman, the mentalist, is hosting. And I honestly think that's the only reason he's going.
Collectively, these systems have intercepted hundreds of ballistic missiles targeting U.S. forces, our partners.
I don't know why they keep using prosecuted in that form. I mean, it's technically correct, but you hardly ever hear anybody use it that way.
Stability. The threat from one-way attack UAVs has remained persistent. Our systems have proven effective in countering these platforms, engaging targets rapidly. Each intercept represents hundreds of hours of training, readiness, and technology all coming together to work as designed. We will remain vigilant in the counter-UAV fight. And the defense of the region is not ours alone. As the threat grew, our partners surged in beside us. Air defense batteries in Qatar, the UAE, Kuwait, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia joined the fight, proof positive that years of training, trust, and hard-earned integration pay off. I am aware of the loss of 3 U.S. Air Force F-15Es overnight in the region. I am grateful for the safety of the crews, and we know that this was not from hostile enemy fire. As this matter's under investigation, I'll not comment further on this.
Right.
Close.
Friendly
Operations
fire.
will remain active across the theater.
Oh, I don't know what that flesh-eating bacteria and that lump Dude, that looks scary as fuck, dude. I don't know what that shit is. Does anybody have a guess? Is it yeast infection from his neck pussy? Mariah gets mad because Donald Trump's neck pussy is basically like a vagina twin to Mariah's vagina. I can't even watch him give a speech without getting aroused. And then that Time magazine cover, oh, that was like homemade porn for me.
Across the globe. The U.S. forces are postured not only to maintain pressure, but to respond and adapt as required. Operation Epic Fury stands as a reminder of what the United States military uniquely delivers: the ability to project power on a global scale with speed.
Every time I see him speak, I think, God damn, I should check out Mariah.
Surprise, precision, and overwhelming force when and where our nation requires it. What we've demonstrated over the past several days.
They said it was his dry cleaner. His dry cleaner put a flesh-eating bacteria on his collar.
Of investment in readiness, joint integration, and professionalism of the joint force. As major combat operations continue across CENTCOM, we remain engaged globally. America's joint force retains the credibility, capacity, and flexibility to respond to any contingency. Especially
when Mariah needs to shave, then I see his neck pussy looking like a baby porpoise, and I'm thinking, God damn. We gotta get you waxed or something, Mariah.
See anywhere in the world at any time. To those who would test our resolve or threaten the United States, our allies, or our interests, understand clearly we can reach you, we can sustain the fight, and we can scale the fight, and we will prevail. To the American people, your joint force remains steady, frosty, calm, and focused. Your service members are trained, disciplined, and determined. We understand the risks of this mission and the weight of the responsibility that we carry. We also recognize that our families also shoulder the burden at home. You are a part of this too. I am proud today, as I am every day, to stand as a member of America's joint force. There is no mission too complex, no distance too great, and no adversary too determined for the men and women who wear our nation's uniform. We mourn our fallen, we honor their families, and we continue our mission with focus, unity, and strength. And now I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Right here. Go ahead.
Thank you for your time. What percentage of Iranian long-strike capabilities are still in the fight, and what is our exit strategy here, and when will it be deployed?
Well, they have long-range strike capabilities, which we are hyper-focused on. The brief we got just this morning.
They have regional strike capabilities. I don't know if I'd call them long-range.
Knows exactly and precisely what kind of threat matrix he's looking at, the way they might change their techniques, and how we adapt to that. So we're making sure the theater commander has absolutely everything he needs. I mean, one of the things the chairman mentioned is for months and months, even before we built up, we ensured that we had maximum defensive capabilities in theater to allow the president the decision space in the future. So even before this build up in the last 30 days, we discreetly brought defensive assets in to make sure, understanding that there are Iranian capabilities. As far as time frame, I would never hang a time frame from our perspective. The commander-in-chief sets the op tempo in terms of this fight. As I said, it's on his terms, and we'll make sure that Admiral Cooper and his team have everything they need, not just to defend. I mean, the best defense is good offense. And so we're aggressively pushing into that airspace over that southern flank to ensure that we control it and we destroy anything that moves that would attempt to shoot us. Think of it as shooting the archer instead of the arrows. That's where we want to be. And we have the kind of exquisite intelligence to get over the top, find that and destroy it. It won't happen overnight. This is a big...
What the fuck? It says that the White House said that the neck rash that he has is because he's using a very common cream for preventative skin treatments. So it's a preventative. So like he had nothing there. And they're like, here, use this cream to prevent, I don't know, neck AIDS or some shit. He's like, oh, okay. And that caused a giant rash and this big fucking lump and an open wound. That makes sense.
Big battle space with a lot of capabilities. That's part of the reason why it's such a threat to us. That's why I talk about conventional umbrella to blackmail nuclear ambitions. They were building up this conventional arsenal in order to ensure that no one would ever block them from their ability to get nuclear weapons. So we're very clear-eyed about the nature of this Iranian threat, and we're going to get after it. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for the question. The only thing I'll add is that unlike an operation, a single operation like Midnight Hammer or Absolute Resolve, it'll take some time for us to conduct battle damage assessment, and the targeting cycle that CENTCOM will run will take those things into effect. Admiral Cooper will adjust his plan and fires accordingly to ensure that we're attriting that. He's focused on long-range strike capability coming out of the enemy, and that's a key and essential part of it.
Of the capabilities that still exist from the enemy front.
Yeah, that's what I mean when I say we're still doing BDA. Normally we'd be able to see a singular thing and we'd assess pretty quickly. He's doing offense and assessment simultaneously, so it'll take longer for us to assess than it would in a single operation.
Secretary Hicks, thank you. Reagan Reese with the Daily Caller. 2 questions for you. The president said yesterday in his video message that we will.
If you guys don't know what we're talking about, it looks fucking bad. This is from a preventative fucking, like, look at this shit. What the fuck is he preventing that this is what you get just from preventing it? Like, hell, I might need the other thing. Like, maybe we just let the other thing happen instead of this. President Trump is using a very common cream on the right side of his neck, which is a preventative skin treatment prescribed by the White House doctor. The president is using this treatment for 1 week, and the redness is expected to last for a few weeks. It almost looks like a burn, like a chemical burn, or maybe a laser burn or something. I don't know. I don't know what it's supposed to prevent, but that looks bad to begin with.
Leave Iran when we complete all of our objectives. What are our objectives? And can you share more information on how the soldiers who were killed were killed?
Well, I laid out the objectives, as did the chairman. They're completely nested. I mean, Iran has an ability to project power against us and our allies in ways that we can't tolerate. So whether that's ballistic missiles and drones, so offensive capabilities, effectively their navy, which would attempt to set other terms and impose different costs, drone capabilities, which we laid out there, and ultimately, though, this tying it back to Midnight Hammer, the president has been willing to make a deal. You can't have a nuclear bomb. Radical Islamists can't have a nuclear bomb that they wield against the world. He gave them every single opportunity. Then we precisely took it away. And even then, after that, they didn't have that. They didn't come to the table with a willingness to give it away. So ultimately, those nuclear ambitions, which never ceased, are something that had to be addressed as well. So that's a discrete sense of what's being addressed here to ensure that they can't use that conventional umbrella to continue a pursuit.
It could be that. 5-fluorouracil, 5FU. It basically stops the skin cells from like dividing and reproducing.
Of nuclear ambitions. And then as it pertains to the U.S. casualties, that particular incident was, you have air defenses and the lot's coming in and you hit most of it, and we absolutely do. We have incredible air defenders. Every once in a while you might have one, unfortunately we call it a squirter that makes its way through. And
we call it a what?
And the lot's coming in and you hit most of it, and we absolutely do. We have incredible air defenders. Every once in a while you might have one, unfortunately we call it a squirter that makes its way through.
We call it a squirter? That's what made me marry my wife. I don't know.
Well, I laid out the objectives, as did the chairman. They're completely nested. I mean, Iran has an ability to project.
2 questions for you. The president said yesterday in his video message that we will leave Iran when we complete all of our objectives. What are our objectives? And can you share more information on how the soldiers who were killed were killed?
Well, I laid out the objectives, as did the chairman. They're completely nested. I mean, Iran has an ability to project power against us and our allies in ways that we can't tolerate. So whether that's ballistic missiles and drones, so offensive capabilities, effectively their navy, which would attempt to set other terms and impose different costs, drone capabilities, which we laid out there, and ultimately, though, this tying it back to Midnight Hammer, the president has been willing to make a deal. You can't have a nuclear bomb. Radical Islamists can't have a nuclear bomb that they wield against the world. He gave them every single opportunity. Then we precisely took it away.
20 years. 20 years they've been like 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon.
Even then, after that, they didn't have that. They didn't come to the table with a willingness to give it away. So ultimately, those nuclear ambitions, which never ceased, are something that had to be addressed as well. So that's...
But we set them back decades, remember? Decimated them.
A discrete sense of what's being addressed here to ensure that they can't use that conventional umbrella to continue a pursuit of nuclear ambitions. And
a conventional umbrella. So what he's saying is like conventional weapons that they use to defend themselves and attack other people while they're still in this pursuit for nuclear weapon, non-conventional weapons.
As it pertains to the U.S. casualties, that particular incident was, you have air defenses and the lot's coming in and you hit most of it, and we absolutely do. We have incredible.
His earlobe. A visible diagonal crease extending from the tragus to the outer earlobe. It's like a textbook example of it too. Hold on, I'll show you. So see this arrow pointed here? How it comes out of like his ear hole and then creases his at his earlobe. That's called Frank's sign. It is a visible crease extending from the tragus to the outer earlobe, often associated with risk of underlying coronary artery disease, cardiovascular disease, peripheral vascular disease.
Layered offenders. Every once in a while, you might have one, unfortunately, we call it a squirter that makes its way through.
A squirter?
In that particular case, it happened to hit a tactical operations center that was fortified, but these are powerful weapons. So we certainly will do, as I said, moments like that as we remember them and we take care of them and take care of their families, only stiffen our resolve to ensure that we do this properly.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Secretary Hexet. I had two questions for you. First, are there currently any American boots on the ground in Iran?
Yes. I mean, he's probably going to say no, like traditional military, but absolutely yes.
No, but we're not going to go into the exercise of what we will or will not do. I think it's one of those fallacies for a long time that this department or presidents or others should tell the American people, this, and our enemies, by the way, here's exactly what we'll do. Here's exactly how long we'll go. Here's exactly how far we'll go. Here's what we're willing to do and not do. It's foolishness. And so President Trump ensures that our enemies understand we'll go.
It's not foolishness to promise the American people something. To be like, look, we're doing this and we're going to finish it. And it may take a while and we may have some deaths, but we won't put troops on the ground. That's a line we're not going to cross. And if it gets to a situation where the situation changes and said, look, I told you we wouldn't put troops on the ground, but now this happened. So we're going to have to. But it's not foolishness to promise the American people that they're not signing a fucking check to fucking send troops down the goddamn barrel of more deaths in the Middle East.
As far as we need to go to advance American interests. But we're not dumb about it. You don't have to roll 200,000 people in there and stay for 20 years. We've proven that you can achieve objectives that advance American interests without being foolish about it. Now, will we be bold about it? Are we willing to be decisive about it? Do we put months and months of planning into what kind
Why doesn't he have this weird mole or whatever
of
removed?
effects we want to achieve? Absolutely.
It bothers me that it falls in one of his creases.
But going forward, why in the world would we tell you, the enemy, anybody, what we will or will not do in pursuit of an objective? We fight
because you owe it to the American people. You owe it to the fucking service members' families sitting at home.
To win. We fight to achieve the objectives the President of the United States has laid out, and we will do so unapologetically. Thank
Is there
you.
any significance to Israel carrying out the strike to kill the Ayatollah? And I wanted to know, what was your immediate reaction to finding out about his killing?
I think Israel did a great job in the conduct of...
You know how many people it would ease to say, look, or maybe not even promise. Say, we're going to do everything that we can, and it will be an absolute last resort and a completely different situation before we put one American boot on the ground.
Of that operation.
President Trump put a 4-week timeline on it. Are you saying that's wrong?
Yeah, thank you. You mentioned during the briefing, General Kane, that there would be additional troops sent to the region. Could you say how many troops currently are involved in this operation and how many additional troops are planned to go in this next phase?
I don't want to talk specifics because that would tip the enemy off. We have more tactical aviation flowing into theater just based on the time it took to get it out there. I think we're just about where we want to be in terms of total combat capacity and total combat power for Admiral Cooper. One of the things, though, that a commander, he'll consistently assess the trajectory of the campaign. Is he on or off trajectory? And then make an ask of the joint force, which will then develop options for consideration by the Secretary and the President to either increase or in some cases decrease the amount of combat capability that we have over there.
I heard the question about 4 weeks. It's a typical NBC sort of gotcha type question. President Trump has all the latitude in the world to talk about how long it may or may not take. 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 6 weeks. It could
because he's flipped this so many times, right? He's trying to get ahead of. Trump has said fucking shit all over the spectrum. He's like, oh, that's a typical gotcha. Trump can say 4 weeks. If he wants to take 4 weeks, it'll take 4 weeks. But if he changes his mind after he has toast and it's only going to take 24 hours, and it's only going to take 24 hours. He can say whatever he wants to all the time.
It could move up, it could move back. We're going to execute at his command the objectives we've set out to achieve. And what he has shown an ability to do that other presidents can't quite seem to have the aperture to do, well, I mean, Joe Biden didn't even know what he was doing, is to look for opportunities and off-ramps and escalations for the United States that creates new opportunities to execute what we need on our own timeline. So you can play games about 4 weeks, 5 weeks. He has all the latitude, and I'm glad he does, because there's no better communicator than our president expressing those things.
To the Daily Mail.
I've been in meetings with the president for the last 2.5 days. We know exactly where his headspace is, and he will communicate as as he should, exactly what he would like, and we will follow those orders.
On Truth Social. So if you're worried about this, if you're in the military, if you want a press release, just go watch him truth out his truths.
And I think everything he said on that is right down the middle.
Chairman, did you have
Absolutely.
evidence-
Yes, right there. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Secretary. I left my hometown of Sakis in Iranian Kurdistan in 1996. Can you promise that I will be able to return home safely this year? And I have a following question too, please.
I appreciate the question. I'm not here to place guarantees on that, but I think the message the president has given has been clear to the people of Iran. This is your moment. The world was seized by these crowds and then seized by the reality of this regime killing tens of thousands of innocent protesters. So we saw the nature of the regime yet again exposed. We saw many of the Iranian people seek a change there. This is their moment to take advantage of it, for sure.
Secretary, you served in Iraq and know that no American soldiers were killed in Kurdistan. The Kurdish people are very pro-American. Will you continue to protect Kurdistan and Peshmerga as loyal ally of the United States? Why I'm asking this question? Because now Kurdistan is under attack by Iranian drones and by proxies in Iraq and on the region.
I think I can speak to allies generally in the region who we've been in constant communication with. We've been standing shoulder to shoulder with them, and we appreciate their capabilities. Absolutely. Yes, right here.
Hi, thank you. Cameron Arkin with the Daily Wire. My question
I didn't answer the question.
Threats, if any, regarding this right now. Would there been any concerns about Iranian sleeper cells, and kind of what has the Trump administration been doing to kind of monitor these?
Well, across the interagency, in full coordination. Of course, we're paying attention to any potentialities there. This is a former regime, that seeks to export that ideology and try to sow terror. We're ready for that. We've seen these types of folks before, and the American people can rest assured that we're vigilant on that.
Thank you. Kind of a follow up on that last question. There was just this, what appears to be a terrorist attack in Austin yesterday. How does that change the operation at all? What effect does that have?
It doesn't change the operation at all, and I know the authorities are executing exactly the way they should.
Secretary Higseth, and one for Chairman Kane as well. I understand, to your point here, that you don't want to broadcast everything for our adversaries to hear.
Here we go.
The American people also want to know what they're sending their men and women to war for. Is there a concern of this spiraling into a longer war? And then one for the chairman when you're done.
Did you not hear my remarks? I mean, we're ensuring the mission gets accomplished, but we are very clear-eyed, as the president has been, unlike other
Did you not hear my remarks?
presidents.
I think it's pretty widely reported that all the pilots who ejected safely landed.
About the foolish policies of the past that recklessly pulled us in to things that were not tethered to actual clear objectives. So we know. We have plans, we have generals, we have chairmen, we have commanders, CENTCOM commanders.
Oh, so this is something that no president's had before. I don't know if you guys know this, but plans, military generals, communication, weapons. So, that could really change the way this thing goes here.
Tethered to actual clear objectives. So we know. We have plans, we have generals, we have chairmen, we have commanders, CENTCOM commanders, Admiral Cooper, who's executing very deliberately to ensure outcomes that I laid out are accomplished. But we would never, in front of a press pool, lay out how long that may take. The mission for our warfighters, which is what matters to us, is very, very clear. And they're executing it right now violently.
And just for the chairman quickly, I have one for the chairman. You said this is not a one-night operation. It will take time to achieve the goals. What would be the goal line here for you?
I think the Secretary laid out the military objectives, and that's what we execute against as the military objectives.
Last one right here.
Enriched uranium is.
Thank you, sir. As you've said, there are a large amount of U.S. service members that are in harm's way right now. What is your prayer for them?
First of all, my prayer for them is that I do pray for them. My wife prays for them. Our family prays for them.
What is your prayer for them? Well, I do pray for them. That's my prayer for them. My prayer for them is that I do pray for them. Unlike Joe Biden, who didn't know what a prayer was. Or Barack Hussein Obama, who prayed to a false god.
Our cabinet prays for them. None of this is done on a whim. Having been in their boots, having been in their shoes.
Yeah, Kurdistan is not actually a country. It's part of Iran, Iraq, Turkey. It's just where the Kurdish people are. They would love for it to be a country, but it's more of like a geopolitical, historical area. Like it's made up of multiple countries.
Having been in their flight suits, I know we think about them with every decision that we make and every recommendation.
Geocultural, maybe. instead of geopolitical, geocultural area.
That we make to the President of the United States. Those recommendations are made perfectly.
They asked him what his prayer was, and he said, my prayer is that I do pray for them.
And when I pray every day for them and for this mission, I pray simply for the biblical wisdom to see what is right and the courage to do it. It's going to take courage to follow through on this. There's going to be a lot of noise, and we pray for that, and we hope all of you do as well. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Going to strike first.
Sites in Iran, sir.
So that's what we got.
Vice President J.D. Vance said, as of at least yesterday, Donald Trump had not yet decided on whether there would be military strikes against Iran, but he insisted that no matter what happens, there is no chance that we're going to be drawn into some quagmire in Iran, a years-long war. No, it's going to be fast, quick, 2 weeks, just get it done, greeted as liberators, that whole thing. Jake, where have we heard that before?
Oh, yeah. It's very limited. It'll be super easy. All right, guys, so are we going to war or not is the main question. So there's a breaking news update on the things that John's going to...
This is even before we went to war. That's not what I'm looking for.
Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, joins us now. Mr. Vice President, why this operation and why now?
Well, good evening, Jesse. So to step back just a little bit, if you go back to Midnight Hammer in the summer, what the president wanted to do with that mission was eliminate Iran's ability to build a nuclear weapon. And we did destroy the nuclear enrichment facilities during Operation Midnight Hammer over the summer. Now, here's the thing, Jesse. We destroyed Iran's ability to build a nuclear weapon during President Trump's term. We set them back substantially. But I think the president was looking for the long haul. He was looking for Iran to make a significant long-term commitment.
This is actually what I'm looking for. Hold on. We'll go back and watch that clip. Damn, is this not the actual clip? Of course it's not. I wanted the clip of him saying, oh, what's different now is that we don't have dumb presidents. But I can't find the clip currently. It's fine. Fuck it.
That they would never build a nuclear weapon, that they would not pursue the ability to be on the brink of a nuclear weapon. And after months, really almost a year of painstaking diplomacy, what the president determined is he didn't want to just keep the keep the country safe from an Iranian nuclear weapon for the first 3-4 years of his second term. He wanted to make sure that Iran could never have a nuclear weapon, and that would require fundamentally a change in mindset from the Iranian regime. So he saw that the Iranian regime was weakened. He knew that they were committed to getting on that brink of a nuclear weapon, and he decided to take action because he felt that was necessary in order to protect the nation's security.
So Senator Marco Rubio, Secretary Rubio, and the president have both said something along the lines of, you ain't seen nothing yet. We can hit 3 times as hard. What does that mean?
Well, what it means, Jesse, is we have a lot of capacity here. I think there's a lot of chatter about what our objectives is, what our goal is. I mean, I think the president's been extremely clear about our objectives, and it's that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, but there's also been a lot of conversation about what are our capabilities. And look, I know this stuff. Obviously, I'm not going to reveal classified information here on air, but the President of the United States knows what we're able to do. He knows that we have much greater capacity to inflict damage on the Iranian nuclear program, but also on various missiles that threaten our troops. As you've seen, they've been launching those at our troops for much of the past.
I think I think Trump, the reason Trump can't stand Iran is he doesn't like ever being challenged. Like, we know they like to saber rattle. We know they chant death to America. We know they do this. And we know they're, pursuing nuclear weapons now that they're not in the Iran nuclear deal. With the exception of, like, they're basically never going to use it, right? They're never going to do this. They just like to shout a lot. They just like to say, ha, ha, ha. Kind of like North Korea. Like, we got these missiles and blah, blah, blah. But Trump takes that as a direct fucking challenge. Oh, they're saying what? They can't say that about us. They can't say that about me. There's no fucking way. No.
3 days. So I think the president has made it very clear that the United States has a lot of optionality here.
I could troll Trump into bombing a local Walmart, I bet.
And, we could go for a little bit longer. We could go for a lot longer. But I think the president just wants to make it clear to the Iranians and to the world that he is not going to rest until he accomplishes that all-important objective of ensuring that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon, not just for the next few years, not just because we raided Fordo or some other enrichment facility, but because the Iranians themselves commit long-term to not building a nuclear weapon.
After Iraq and Afghanistan, some people say, oh, here we go again. Is that something here you're thinking about?
Well, Jesse, if you think back to Afghanistan, 20 years of mission creep, 20 years of not having a clear objective, and 20 years of the United States trying to bring liberal democracy to Afghanistan. Iraq was a little bit shorter, but we were still in that country for nearly a decade with no clear mission, no clear definition.
Yeah, no one ever talks about how Israel fucking lied to us and built nuclear weapons the whole time, telling us that they weren't even pursuing nuclear weapons, didn't need nuclear weapons, weren't going to get nuclear weapons. Then one day we just have an ambassador over there flying around on a helicopter, and he's like, "What's that plant?" And they're like, "Oh, that's a new chemical plant." And he's like, "For real?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then he finds out that that's a nuclear facility where they've been building nuclear weapons for years, right under our noses.
So different about this, Jesse, is that the president has clearly defined what he wants to accomplish, and there's just no way, I said this before the conflict started, I'll repeat it again, there's just no way that Donald Trump is going to allow this country to get into a multi-year conflict with no clear end in sight and no clear objective. What is different about President Trump and...
Well, it's already been almost a year, right? Because we started with Epstein's hammer or whatever.
It's frankly different about both Republicans and Democrats of the past is that he's not going to let his country go to war unless there's a clearly defined objective. He's defined that objective as Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon and has to commit long-term to never trying to rebuild their nuclear capability. It's pretty clear. It's pretty simple. And I think that means that we're not going to get into the problems that we've had with Iraq and Afghanistan.
Do you and the president care who runs the country now? Or you just kind of sit back and kind of shape it from the sea and the air?
Well, I guess, Jesse, you know, in a perfect world, yeah, we would love it if somebody came to power in Iran who was willing to work with the United States, who was willing to show some respect to the United States, and again, most importantly, made that long-term commitment that Iran...
Well, it's whoever CIA puts in place, right?
...cannot have a nuclear weapon. But ultimately, Jesse, whatever happens with the regime in one form or another, it's...
I will die on this hill that Jesse Waters is a flaming homosexual. He just identifies too much stuff as gay, right? Drinking from a straw, gay. Going to the grocery store, gay. So either he's locked inside his house 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, except when they let him out to record these, or he's fucking gay. And he just doesn't have any fucking, radar for what is gay and what isn't gay.
Incidental to the president's primary objective here, which is to make sure the Iranian terrorist regime does not build a nuclear bomb. So, there are a lot of things that could happen with the regime. Obviously, the president and I would prefer that you have a friendly regime in Iran, a stable country, a country that's willing to work with the United States as opposed to bomb our soldiers and try to build a nuclear weapon. But fundamentally, so long as we achieve the president's objective to make it clear that Iran can't build the bomb, I think the president will be happy with the outcome.
And you saw evidence that they were still trying to enrich?
Not just that they're trying to enrich, Jesse, and this is one of the almost comical elements of the diplomacy that we've been engaged in for the past month, the past year, I should say. Steve Witkoff, Marco Rubio, Jared Kushner, they did such a good job, such a deliberate job. But the Iranians would come back to us, Jesse, and they'd say, well, having enrichment for civilian purposes, for energy purposes, is a matter of national pride. And so we would say, okay, that's interesting, but why are you building your enrichment facilities 70 feet underground? And why are you enriching to a level that's way beyond civilian enrichment and is only useful if your goal is to build a nuclear bomb? Nobody objects to the Iranians being able to build, medical isotopes. The objection is these enrichment facilities that are only useful for building a nuclear weapon. Even some international organizations that usually don't agree with the United States were very clear that Iran's only purpose in building these underground, highly enriched facilities was to build a nuclear weapon. It just doesn't pass the smell test for you to say that you want enrichment for like medical isotopes while at the same time trying to build a facility 70, 80 feet underground.
Yeah, they were trying to jerk you guys around, and that obviously didn't work. Mr. Vice President, God bless you guys, and God bless our troops. Thank you. Click here to subscribe to the...
All right, here's the clip I was looking for earlier.
And the second thing is, Kristen, I certainly empathize with Americans who are exhausted after 25 years of foreign entanglements in the Middle East. I understand the concern, but the difference is that back then we had dumb presidents, and now we have a president who actually knows how to accomplish America's national security objectives. So this is not going to be some long, drawn-out thing. We've got in, we've done the job of setting their nuclear program back. We're going to now work to permanently dismantle that nuclear program over the coming years, and that is what the president has set out to do. And the second thing is, Kristen, I certainly empathize with Americans who
crash the economy and start a war is like the Republican fucking playbook, right?
We're exhausted after 25 years of foreign entanglements in the Middle East. I understand the concern, but the difference is that back then we had dumb presidents, and now we have a president who actually knows how to accomplish.
So back then all the presidents were dumb, and now we've got a smart one, finally.
America's national security objectives. So this is not going to be some long drawn out thing. We've got in, we've done the job of setting their nuclear program back. We're going to now work to permanently dismantle that nuclear program over the coming years. And that is what the president has set out to do. Simple. And the second thing is, Kristen, I certainly.
Obviously, that makes perfect sense. Duh. God damn, what is this neck lesion? I got to know.
Is Donald Trump dying? That's a question that the internet is asking after this picture of Donald Trump went.
Okay, let's talk about it. Like we're not fucking maggots just screaming shit. If Donald Trump had a horrible fucking disease, wasn't doing well, was on fucking dialysis, or you know, his heart was failing and on medication, or he was sundowning. There's been a new thing where they're letting him wear hats and they're keeping the lights down low, is to keep him from a bad reaction to sundowning, right? He keeps all the lights out of his eyes when he wears that hat way down low and the lights are already low. If any of that was happening, would this administration tell us? Let's say his heart is failing, right? And the doctor's like, you know, it's pretty bad. Could be, 6 days, could be 6 years. I don't know. But your heart is just giving. Would this administration tell us? Because sometimes I get tired of seeing all the people saying like, oh, he's only got this much. But they're leaving it to us because no one fucking trusts them. No one.
Super viral that shows the President of the United States with a very mysterious rash. And we have to wonder what the White House knows, because there's clearly something going on. There's something going on. Not only does he look like shit, but he sounds like shit. This is Donald Trump literally an hour ago.
Finally, we honor one more American soldier, a fallen warrior of world of wars, and really. Finally, we honor one more American soldier, a fallen warrior of world of wars, and really, terror. Staff Sergeant. Finally, we honor one more American soldier, a fallen warrior of world.
A fallen warrior of world of wars and really terror?
Of wars and really, terror.
What? That's him at his best.
Oh my God. Have you seen the CEO of McDonald's being held at gunpoint while he tries to eat their new burger? Which isn't even the burger you get. Like that, it's still being like made by chefs in McDonald's corporate, right? Like it's fucking high end there. It's not actually what you get when you go order it. It looks like a fucking hostage video, dude. I thought he was going to cry at one point. He's like, I'm not kidding. This is going to be my lunch? Yeah, this is going to be your lunch. He's like he takes like the smallest bite and he's like, big bite for a big burger. I'll eat the rest of this when you guys aren't watching. You guys want to watch it? It is the fucking, let's finish this video. It's the craziest shit I've ever seen.
Donald Trump also got super distracted when he was honoring a soldier, and here's what he said.
See that nice drape? When that comes down right now, you see a very, very deep hole. But in about a year and a half from now, you're going to see a very, very beautiful building. And
I'd rather see the deep hole.
Right there. In fact, it looks so nice, I think I'll save money on the doors, because it can't get more beautiful than that. I picked those drapes in my first term.
They're coming out with a new burger called the Big Arch.
Gold. But I think we can save a lot of money. I just saved curtains. But and it'll be spectacular. It'll be the most beautiful ballroom. I believe it because I built many.
I'm gonna keep going, but is it not shocking to anyone else that the President of the United States is talking about curtains when Americans have died overseas because of a war he started that was unnecessary? It's like he doesn't care at all. I mean, you would watch this and not for one moment think to yourself that there is a conflict happening overseas. You would think everything's normal. It's not. This is not normal.
A ballroom. I believe it's going to be the most beautiful ballroom anywhere in the world. And when you hear all that hammering out there, you know why the First Lady is not thrilled exactly. She said, will the pile drivers ever stop? You know, they go from 6 in the morning till...
Well, she's also at her own apartment in Trump Towers and doesn't live with you, so I bet she's not complaining like that.
Melania doesn't even live in the White House. What is he?
Exactly.
11:30 in the evening. Can you imagine? Here? You know what? To me, that's a beautiful sound. She doesn't like it. I love it. You know what? To me, other than here, because we're donating it, not a penny to the taxpayer. It'll be under budget, ahead of schedule. It'll be $400 million or less. Most people say 400 million or more. No, it'll be less. But when I hear that sound, that beautiful sound behind me, it means money, so I like it. But my wife isn't thrilled. she said, this is getting crazy. I said, don't worry about it. We'll be all finished up in a few months. But now for the reason.
Really alarming stuff. And shout out to the American people who have at least woken up in this moment and really are against what's happening overseas. There's new polling that shows only 25% of Americans support the strikes in Iran. How often do Americans agree on anything? Americans can't agree on much of anything. And yet on the strikes in Iran, we very much so are on the same page. Now, Dropsite News is also reporting that the number of seriously injured soldiers in the President Trump's regime change war in Iran has more than tripled. The Pentagon confirmed. CNN and Al Jazeera, citing U.S. officials, report that the total has risen from 5 to 18 following Iran's retaliatory attacks. At least 4 U.S. soldiers have also been killed. Would you have any idea any of that was happening with the way that Donald Trump is talking? As they even said here, I picked those drapes. I always like gold. Very, very deep hole. Very, very beautiful building. The most beautiful ballroom anywhere in the world. That's what the president's focused on. What I'm focused on is what the hell is going on with the president's... What is this? I'll tell you what.
That's disgusting as fuck.
Makeup is not going to fix that. I don't know what is happening to him. It really does feel like he's been cursed by a witch. That the ugliness...
But he does have a beautiful labia, doesn't he? Next time, you guys compliment Mariah on her vagina that you saw on Donald Trump's neck.
On the inside has to manifest on the outside. He's got that bruising on his hands. Now he's got this rash. He's got a limp walk. He droops to one side on his face. He's got kinkles. What is going on with the president? This has more than 2 million views. And by the way, it started a couple days ago on the 27th, as you can see here. Now, one thing someone has pointed out is that the rashes on the neck in Alzheimer's patients are commonly caused by skin reactions to medications such as contact dermatitis from rivastigmine patches or drug-induced rashes from oral medications like galantamine. And I'm sorry for mispronouncing that. I am not a doctor. I am a YouTuber. Symptoms can include redness, blistering, and itching. It is critical to a contact doctor.
God, it looks disgusting. All right, let's go to McDonald's CEO. Tell me that this guy actually enjoys this food. Here we go. You better be ready for this shit.
Chris K.
Oh, is it not going to resize the right way? I guess not.
Here with, you've heard about it, here it is, the Big Arch. This is something that we have tested already. It's in Portugal, Germany, Canada. I love this product. It is so good. I'm going to do a tasting right now, but I'm going to eat this for my lunch, just so you know. So,
like he's already trying to justify it. Like, I'm only doing a testing right now, but this is my lunch, I promise, just so you know. I promise this is my lunch. It's the only thing I'm eating. I don't have another lunch of real food setting just off camera. I don't know why you guys would even think that.
So here we go. First, holy cow. God, that is a big burger. We've got...
Is it though?
A very unique kind of sesame poppy sort of bun on it.
Sort of bun? Or bun? This meat-flavored product substitute is the best meat-flavored product substitute patty I've ever had in my life.
We've got 2 quarter-pound patties, a delicious Big Arch sauce, and of course some lettuce. So, there's so much going on with this. First of all, let's try to get this thing, I don't even know how to attack it. God.
Does he not know how to eat a burger? Or is he playing up for the camera? What? I don't even know where to start. Do I eat it from the bottom, like straight through the center? Do I use my tongue between the buns just to fish out all the lettuce first, like a fucking, an appetizing salad? Do I use a straw and try to remove the sauce first? How do I even attack it?
at this. First of all, let's try to get this thing. I don't even know how to attack it. Got so much to it. Oh, there's also some crispy onions on here as well. I see those kind of coming out. All right, the moment of truth.
Look at this tiny ass fucking bite he took, dude. And then listen to what he says. Like the smallest fucking bite, and his eyes roll back in his fucking head. Look at this bite. That is not the Instagram, like, take this giant bite and, like, hold it up or whatever. Like, this is just a bun sort of thing and maybe some lettuce. Missed that meat substitute product, didn't you?
That is so good. That's a big bite for a big arch.
Then it looks like almost like they cut some of the patty loose.
It's distinctively McDonald's. Only McDonald's could do this type of burger, but
that's what we're worried about. If nobody can replicate this, but the fucking mad scientist at McDonald's, is that a good thing? Nobody could replicate this except for our lab. I guarantee you that. That's definitely a McDonald's lab burger.
But it also is unlike anything else on our menu. It's a delicious product. You know, you've got sort of the cheeses and the gooiness, but those crispy onions as well gives a nice texture. And of course, we've got the pickles. So I'm going to enjoy the rest of my lunch. But
I bet you, I'm going to eat. Trust me, I'm going to eat the rest of this off camera as my lunch. But we can't record that. Like that wouldn't be appropriate, would it?
As well gives a nice texture. And of course, we've got the pickles. So I'm going to enjoy the rest of my lunch. But Big Arch, try it when you can get it. Chris K here with...
All right, I won't pause it this time. Check it out.
Here it is, the Big Arch. This is something that we have tested already.
Stop calling it a product.
Portugal,
call it a burger.
Germany, Canada. I love this product. It is so good. I'm going to do a tasting right now, but I'm going to eat this for my lunch, just so you know. So here we go. First, holy cow. God, that is a big burger. We've got a very unique kind of sesame poppy sort of bun on it. We've got 2 quarter-pound patties, a delicious Big Arch sauce, and of course some lettuce. So, there's so much going on with this. First of all, let's try to get this thing, I don't even know how to attack it. Got so much to it. Oh, there's also some crispy onions on here as well. I see those kind of coming out. All right, the moment of truth. That is so good. That's a big bite for a big arch. It's distinctively McDonald's. Only McDonald's could do this type of burger, but it also is unlike anything else on our menu. It's a delicious product. You know, you've got sort of the cheeses and the gooiness, but those crispy onions as well gives a nice texture. And of course, we've got the pickles. So I'm going to enjoy the rest of my lunch, but Big Arch, try it when you can get it. Chris K here with, you've heard of.
Do we think that he enjoys this burger? Is that the takeaway we got from this?
I said, you can't fuck with me. I'm over here. I'm over here.
I just wanted to see if Ryan was still being a Nazi or not. The consent of the governed that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of the ends, it is the right of the people to alter, abolish it, and institute a new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form. You know what these people remind me of? You guys ever seen the Family Guy episode where they overthrow the government? And then they're like, well, what do we do now? And they're like, I guess we all have to vote on laws and sit here all day and be the police and be the fire department. They're like, we can't do that. We got jobs. They're like, well, maybe we should put people in charge. And they just rebuild the government. That's what these people remind me of.
This dude right here is a complete faggot. Anything for a post from these motherfuckers, huh? Oh no, Jelly hurt his little collarbone. It's broken. He broke his little collarbone. Oh my God. Motherfucker, I've been walking around with a broke back, didn't even know it.
They don't come in screaming and waving flags. They don't kick your door down.
was Googled in Israel. Oh, God, these are the stupidest conspiracies, dude.
Nobody is talking about this. Watch this.
We have the. Are y'all excited? I know I am. Because this world that seems to hate Americans, well, you're all finna find out what the fuck happens when you press a bunch of Americans way too far. You see, when we're sick of your shit, stuff burns to the fucking ground. And there's nowhere you can hide.
He says this as if he's part of the administration or some shit.
Reason why every day I wake up, I wear a shirt that has this logo on it. You know why? Because we are the big brother of the entire fucking world. Whether you want to believe it or not. I know some people are like, all I do is party and have fun. We do party and we do have fun. That's because somewhere in the timeline, we don't get to have fun. We have to fucking sit down and whoop everybody's fucking ass.
You keep saying we, like, what the fuck did you do, bro?
All these other motherfuckers that talk shit about Americans, try to say we're these stereotypes that we are and blah, blah, blah. We're stupid with this and with that. You're fucking scared. And you should.
When did you serve, bro?
See, while y'all have all y'all's bullshit and you run around blah, 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 with your fucking guns and shit, you don't touch your guns enough. Motherfucker, we got cheetah print ones. We got little dangly things on them. We hold our guns so fucking much. We all customize it like fucking psychos. What's that got to do with anything, Upchurch? Who cares if you customize your gun? Listen to what I'm saying. Are you talking about the country that spray paints a fucking shark smiling on the side of a fucking airplane? You're talking to the motherfuckers who spray paint bad bitches on the side of bombs before we send them to your country to fuck you. Us Americans are just different. We are built different. Physically, we are built different than you. Motherfucker, I done flew through a windshield, drove off a mini cliff with two.
He's a famous country rapper.
Accident, got hit in the fucking spine by another motorcycle. Been walking around with a broke fucking back for like 8 months, didn't even know it. We're built different than you. Oh no, he's going off the deep end. You're not in the deep end enough, sissy. You need to spit in a fucking vial. I want to see red, white, and blue be the majority of the fucking percentage, you little fuck face.
Ah, there we go. So he's talking about DNA testing for who can stay in the United States.
Pedophiles, your time's coming too, motherfuckers. When us men are dressed like Disney princesses chasing you down in the fucking woods with a ball of lemon juice and a fucking buck knife to skin your ass with, you'll really know what's up.
Why would you be dressed like a Disney princess?
Come here, little buddy. You want to build a snowman? Do you want 250 pounds of fucking psycho chasing you for a mile on foot?
Well, you're well over 250 pounds. And I don't know that you could run a mile.
I don't think you do. We are the elite humans of the whole fucking world. There's nothing you can do about it. Wah! Cry me a fucking river. Motherfucker, look, I'm blind as a fucking bat. Okay? I don't shoot a gun for 4 fucking months. I pick one up, 100-yard shot with iron sights, headshot, 4th try. Once again.
4th try. 4th try.
We're built different than you. We're grown different than you. We will always be.
He doesn't have a real job other than country rapping. He's like a multimillionaire. Like, he really did make it at one point. He's just done a lot of meth since then.
The elite humans of the whole fucking world. Fuck off.
Oh, here we go. 4th try. 4th try. Headshot.
Headshot.
First try every 4th try.
Yes.
Is it true you got a second cousin named Chaz that works at Loveless Cafe? If so, met him today, church.
True. Chaz is my cousin. Chaz, if you see this, love you, bro. How many old girls twerking? Could an old girl twerk if an old girl could girl twerking? Depends on if they did it on purpose. Old girl twerking. She did it on purpose. Why are you the way that you are? God sent me here like this. Thoughts on...
It was a 22.
Magic and interstellar beings and spirituality. I think black magic has to be done by people who are on the dark side. They have to try really hard to make and manipulate things. There are people on Earth that have been sent here and are encrypted by the Creator, and they're here to fix little pieces of the puzzle. And
that's him. He thinks he has special, like almost like what do they call him, starseed, like starseed DNA. He also believes that the Romans were here before the Indians, and they founded Nashville and built the Coliseum and shit that they built for the World's Fair in Nashville. He thinks that was built before the Indians existed.
And the people that fuck with those people, their life turns to shit because, like I said, it's an encrypted person.
He found like this fucking, like, I don't know, like art piece from like Rome that showed like a Roman, and he compared it to his face and like his nose and his eyes. He's like, you can't tell me that's not me, dude.
AKA something that's alien. Now, if terrestrials are in fact extraterrestrial, and some terrestrials are just solo terrestrial, and some fucking weird scientist was like, I think I can play God. Well, he thought the fuck wrong, you know. Can you astral project? I can do more than that.
He thinks that extraterrestrial is extra Earth people. He doesn't realize that extra is a prefix that means from outside or beyond, outside of, you know, outward. He can't tell him nothing.
Astral projection's fun, but literally sitting in a room with people watching a movie, and then I turn and look at somebody, and I get up and I go to the refrigerator and I open it, and I get one single piece of cheese out, and I walk to the group in the room, and I hand it to the person, and they're like, what the fuck? And I was like, you were thinking about a piece of cheese. You wanted a piece of cheese. And they're like, how the fuck did you know that? I'm like, good guess. I was just guessing.
What?
Can you astral project? I can do more than that. Astral projection's fun, but literally sitting in a room with people watching a movie, and then I turn and look at somebody, and I get up and I go to the refrigerator and I open it, and I get one single piece of cheese out, and I walk to the group in the room, and I hand it to the person, and they're like, what the fuck? And I was like, you were thinking about a piece of cheese. You wanted a piece of cheese. And they're like, how the fuck did you know that? I'm like, good guess. I was just guessing. Your recent post, there's a ghostly face in the fire to the right. I don't doubt that. What is your next tattoo going to be? Julius Caesar? What's a movie you think everyone should watch? Age of Disclosure. Why do you take things away from people that you gave them? I never understood. Well, you're not a fucking warrior then. Because if an army has a guy who fucking sabotages the army he's with, then you take their sword. You know why? Because they're not on your fucking team anymore. Would you consider reading the Bible before speaking on it? Prayers for you and your fam. Would you consider the fact that maybe I don't have to fucking read the Bible to believe in Jesus?
He talks about how the Bible's all made up and he doesn't read it, blah, blah, blah. None of it's real. It's been changed, but he's never read the Bible.
Because you have to read it doesn't mean I have to.
Right.
I see Jesus in different ways. I see him out in nature. I believe in him. So why do you want me to read a fucking book? I understand that it's like this, it's a story and all that. I get it. But we don't know how much it's been changed, player.
God, he's killing it, dude. He's just out here fucking killing it. What the fuck is wrong with this guy? More music videos. I can't play his music videos. He was off on some fucking Nazi shit, dude. Up church Nazi. I wonder if anybody's got the clips yet. I know somebody fucking recorded it. These are streams. I wonder if they've got it. That was from a year ago. This is from 23 hours ago. On his stories, he was like, somebody's like, are you a Nazi? And he's like, well, I guess I am. Because they're the only people that want to go after pedophiles. And don't come at me with that racist shit. because my N-word friends, my ninjas are the Black Panthers, and they're on my side. Oh, okay. We know. I don't know if it would be in this stream or not from 23 hours ago.
Every night.
There's like this whole environment of streamers that exist around Ron. It's so
Make
weird.
sure you're fishing for the right fish, because you don't want to get that fine. With that being said, let's jump up into it and see who's in the house. How you doing?
Does he show any posts or any stories? Somebody downloaded the shit. I know it.
The scouts find them and the tanks fuck them. And that is a fact, because we got the big guns. Just so you know. What up, Carl? What up, Morningstar? How you doing? What is your problem? Colonists, Nazi, KKK, slave owner, racist bastards. But you must be talking about Brian Upchurch. You ain't talking about me like that. I don't do none of that shit.
Right, that's
That's okay. That's okay. Because I'm still standing here today.
Okay.
I want to fuck my dog and fish my truck. Or whatever that guy was.
We're going to go over what we came live for. Yesterday on IG, Mr. Ryan Edward, he kind of exposed himself on some things. And I'm going to point it out. He thought he was slick, but I caught it. And let's see if you all catch it. I'm going to get to the point of this video. I'm going to tell you to focus on a certain thing. And see if you see what I see. So without further ado, here's the IG from yesterday. Let's get it.
What's up, Skins? Just had me some lunch at Sperry's in Bellevue.
This might be where he just found all the Nazi memorabilia and not the one from like maybe 4 or 5 days ago, maybe a week ago, where he was like, yeah, I guess they're the only ones who want to get rid of the pedophiles.
Woke up 3 o'clock this morning. Changed the shitty diaper, watched Elbow Knock to Nuts. Took breakfast from my little girl. Now, I'm full. I want to take a nap, but I can't. I ain't got no time to take a nap. Gonna head over here to this new property that I bought the other day. Out the ballpark in Victor. Gonna go in for the first time and see how.
I think that's got to be staged. The way he's been talking about Nazi stuff so much, and he's like, I just went in the attic of this building. They didn't record it. He's like, look at all this Nazi memorabilia I found.
Much remodeling we don't have to do over here. Me and Kalani been busting our ass in this new album. In nighttime hours, it's almost done. And then he's gonna take it back to Texas and mix and master this mug. Me and my team are looking for a consistent video guy who want to make some money. I'm gonna switch my distribution, so gotta go over that today so I can get my music redistributed to somebody else. And then I'm gonna make a fire and put some hot chocolate and simmer down around here. I hope y'all having a good day. Also, does anybody got a dually Ford Platinum for sale? You're always looking for a dually Ford Platinum. Preferably 2017 and up. All right. Look at this cute ass location. And then boom.
And it's going to make a whole lot of sense. Once you focus on what Chad Shepard is carrying, and it's going to make a whole lot of sense.
What is Chad Shepard carrying?
It's beautiful outside today.
Oh, he did look like he was carrying something in his hand. A box. A FedEx. He had this shit shipped to him, and he's going to claim he found it in his house, isn't he?
Now in his left hand, he's got a white box.
Or USPS box.
Just focus on those 2 things. And then you'll see what I'm talking about.
All right, man. Mechanisms. Shit, the keys around back. Yeah, that's what she said.
So he claims he bought this rental property, and they kind of go through it. He talks about it a bunch.
Rip these cabinets up.
Then they don't record anything in the attic, but he says, look what we found in the attic. But he records the rest of the house. How weird.
Old school shit, baby. Well, that attic was dusty.
All right, he shows the attic.
Well, that attic was dusty and musty, but look what we found. 1975-76 rules, regulations, and minimum standards for Tennessee Board of Education. That's pretty cool. I found a bunch of books up there. Oh, thanks, sir. We found a bunch of books up there, but most of them are torn up by like mice and shit. All right, well, I didn't expect to find this stuff, but look at this. This was also in the attic.
And it's laying on a cardboard box. He bought this shit online. It's laying in that box that his boy just had in his fucking hand. I didn't even catch that. Good catch.
What was that?
There's the box. It's in the box. Why didn't we notice that, chat? No dust, no nothing. It's in the box it was shipped to him in.
So you want us to believe that you found this box of Nazi memorabilia in that attic?
Damn it, chat. We missed that for sure.
Or something, and buy them, or Chad brought them in that box. It sure looks like the same dimension of the box that he was carrying, and he was gifting it to you. I mean, why not just say, yeah, look what Chad gave me?
the reason why I think you said that you found it in the attic, and this is just me, I think you wanted to try to sell the idea that you're not the only person who is really into Nazi shit. There's no dust on them. They look perfectly clean.
I noticed the dust and shit, but I just figured, the box saved it. I didn't even see that guys had the box in his hand already. I did notice he had some in his hand. I figured it was paperwork about this house they just bought.
I mean,
and realized there was a box
in the attic. The box is not seal-proof. It's not wrapped in plastic. Dust can still get inside of it and accumulate on the items. And the box is too clean. Why not just be truthful? Why try to sell a lie to the people?
That's why.
This is why people don't believe anything that you say.
Wow, dude.
Why not just come out and just be truthful and be like, yeah, look what my buddy Chad gave me. Or look what I bought at this pawn shop. But to try to sell it off that you found it in the attic at the house you just bought. Come on. Come on, man.
Imagine a realtor leaving this shit in the house.
You always say?
Stop the cap. Stop the cap. Stop the cap.
So you really found it in the attic?
What? A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit?
Come on. Keep it a buck. You didn't find that shit in the attic. You're just trying to sell the idea that there are other people who are into that Nazi shit. What up, Adam Calhoun? How you doing, man? He said his whole life is a lie. Facts. That's what pisses people off about you. You can't be truthful. You're trying to troll everybody, and you end up trolling yourself.
Oh, Adam Calhoun is in the chat. Said his whole life is a lie.
Like, just be honest. I mean, if you're into, everybody knows you're into that weird shit. Everybody knows that you're into the Nazi stuff. And I'm going to say it again. If you support any type of Nazis or Hitler stuff, you cannot go around calling yourself a red-blooded American. You cannot call yourself a patriotic American. Because there were thousands of Americans who died in World War II, one of the greatest generations that ever walked on the face of the earth, that served this country.
Imagine one of your relatives that fought in World War II. Like when fucking wars were like a fucking goddamn wars, right? Not like a deployment, not like we got extended and I spent 18 months in the desert or whatever. Like you leave home and you don't come back home until the war's over. Years later, right? Imagine one of your relatives finding out that you're into fucking Hitler and Nazis, just thinking, I think this guy might have had some pretty good ideas.
World War II generation. So if you're claiming to be a patriot, a red blood, true blood red American, you can't do that if you're going around supporting the Nazi party and all this Hitler shit.
Well, when you translate him to English, it's not nearly as crazy as they thought it was.
Not saying you can't find this stuff in people's attics, because I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people who have this kind of stuff. But you ain't got to lie about it. I mean, Chad gets out of the damn car with a white box, the same dimension that's all this stuff's in, and you have to just lie to the people and say, look what I found in the attic. Why not just be truthful? Just be truthful. If you would just be truthful, people would be like, okay, he's a fucking weirdo. At least he's not lying. Why is collecting enemy military considered being a Nazi supporter? No, it's not being a Nazi supporter. You're not considered a Nazi supporter, but when you go around praising Hitler like he does, yeah, that makes you a Nazi supporter. I'm just saying. Now, is there a big market for this stuff? Does this stuff does it sell for quite a bit of money? Yeah, it does, because there's a lot of historians out there who buy shit like this. I'm not gonna lie. Just like there are people out there who collect a lot of Civil War memorabilia, North and South. And if it's original Civil War,
there's a difference between collecting this shit. I used to have an old pistol that had Nazi insignia on it. I thought it was cool as shit. Just because it was a history piece, right? There's a difference between the ideology and the history of it.
With high dollars. Same with World War I and World War II. But you ain't gonna lie about it. That's my whole point.
The old coin. Let's just go in front of a car or a flagpole. Let's go get a flagpole. Huh.
I wanted to see the earlier stuff, but I guess we're not going to get it.
Again, it's a sin.
I wish I'd have noticed that fucking box, dude. That pisses me off.
But it's not our place to judge him. Just like it's not my place to judge Ryan. It's not my place to judge Adam. It's not my place to judge Jesse Howard. It's not my place to judge anybody. Only God can do that. Just like it's not their place to judge me. Only God can judge me. So,
all right, guys. One more conspiracy theory for the road, then I got to go. It's after 1 a.m. here. Let's get it.
Unfortunately, I am spiraling and I have put on my tinfoil hat and I am going to present a hypothesis. I do not think that this is about the Epstein files. Hear me out before you get angry. On January 3rd, 2026, when we invaded Venezuela and captured Maduro, we took temporary control of Venezuela's oil exports and commerce. Venezuela has the largest oil reserve in the world. At first, this did not make complete sense because we cannot necessarily use Venezuela's oils because of the crudeness of it. But technically, we do control their oil sales right now. The largest beneficiaries of Venezuelan oil is China, Russia, and Cuba. The other country that China currently gets a majority of their oil reserves from is Iran. Besides Iranian leadership under this current regime, we are currently targeting Iranian naval bases. Why? Because Iranian naval bases are currently attempting to defend the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz is a key shipping lane to be able to get oil to China. China knew that this was going to happen because they have been stockpiling oil reserves since January when the U.S. invaded Venezuela. They currently have enough oil to last them for approximately 100 days. But what happens when that 100 days winds down? They're manufacturing completely.
Those are all cool stories.
But that's not where this stops. Look at the Q3, Q4 GDP report from the Bureau of Economic Analysis, which is released by this administration. On page 2 of both reports, you will see that the Q3, Q4 GDP is currently being propped up by increased defense spending. Now, who is currently the biggest beneficiary of U.S. production of defense systems? It is not Israel, it is Saudi Arabia. Which country is currently trying to backfill China's oil reserve depletion? Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is currently the biggest beneficiary of us invading Venezuela and capturing Maduro, and also us invading Iran. Our biggest customer of the export that is currently propping up our economy is simultaneously the only country that is currently supplying China with oil. Now, why is the U.S. currently engaging in hypocrisy by propping up Saudi Arabia? $1 billion in 2 Trump towers in Jeddah and Riyadh. $2 billion from Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund into Jared Kushner's private equity fund. $2 billion into Trump's stablecoin. A $5.5 billion Trump golf course developed by a Saudi Arabia developer. Follow the fucking money. Unfortunately, I am spiraling and I have put on my tinfoil hat and I am going to present a hypothesis. I do not think that this is about...
Kind of crazy, ain't it? I'm not saying it's true, but he put some pieces together that were definitely interesting. That's for sure. All right, guys, that's it for me tonight. Please consider supporting the show. You can do it while we're online, offline, whatever. You can use the built-in tools or you can use this link, just quick tools. My other website's all fucked up, but you can use that link, the Buy Me a Coffee, the... PayPal, whatever. If you guys are interested, if they end up doing a fundraiser for the mock trial team, if there's a link or something, I'll share the link. I don't know that they'll do something like that, and I don't know that I want to. I don't know if I want to do it on my own, but if there's some type of link or something, maybe help them with their. I think they said they still need about $1,000 or something to make the trip. Which they're planning on doing fundraisers and shit. So we'll see. Either way, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. We'll see you on the next one. Have a good night. Don't do anything Ryan Upchurch would do because it sounds like he's just a fucking Nazi. We'll see you on the next one. Love you. See ya. Bye.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see this particular show, you don't have the forking balls to call out the people on this planet by name and tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the forking balls. You don't have the balls.
The name of that channel is Nathan C. June, Jun. Nathan C. June on TikTok. He does a lot of political stuff and not as often conspiracy stuff, but he connects dots a lot of times.
Here we go. I think I started some shit. Piss him off. It's about to get lit. Get the place in the beds. You know that stage is set.
I like him too.
Buckle up, 'cause you ain't seen
There's his TikTok.
I'm a lunatic. Well, listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6th sense for the stupid shit. Where my true believer? Y'all need Jesus. Praise the Lord, head to the extreme. All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshipping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking meat hammers like fool in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, eating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut burst. I'll be your huckleberry, I can quench that thirst. Baby eating lizard people, alien sex. What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk. A retard in a vest, climbing up 5G.
Good turnout tonight, guys. Thanks.
He get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the beds, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, 'cause you ain't seen nothing yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit. Get the placing them bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Open his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped them to my shoes and then I flew through the roof. I found myself in orbit strapped to an F-16. High on amphetamine, with Trump in between. Put on a light coat of baby oil and saluted the troops. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, "This is gonna be it." Whoa, wait. Stop. What? What? I'll get my files. What are you doing? Stop. Hold on. Fucking stop. Dude, come on. Seriously. My mom's an alcoholic. Give me oh my God. Damn it. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in them bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in them bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Round 3. Down goes Nino. Please say it isn't so. Got him backed up on the ropes, trying to ram it down his throat. Now things are getting rocking, he was doing so well. It's all over, hands on his shoulders, they ringing his bell. You got Frog News Network doing no damn research. They rework and copy on cocks that came first. 9th inning, second string, and they acting like they know hitters. Assholes throwing bullshit, sending runs to the shitter. All this nonsense on my conscience, it's hard to sleep at night. Who the fuck is in my window with this time of the night? These parasites, these leeches, with all their secret meetings, teaching all you fucking cretins about baby-eating heathens. Believing in reasons with no meaning is bullshit. Will Bird motherfuckers out here busting the grifts. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in them bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in them bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet.
You don't have those guts.
Good night, guys.
You're a pussy wearing